What is up, beautiful people? Welcome to How to Trade. That is your boy, Joey Dang Options. And I'm Sharif. And let's just see who we got today in the chat. Who makes it over first? The OG Gorev. Shut up, my man. Shout out to Kalua. Sup. Shout out to Options and DLV JF Trader as well joining us. Good morning. Right back at you, brother. We got the OG Nimit. We got Adara. We got the world's greatest mod and Mr. Two Pams himself. Shout out to the OG Darwin, Phil Rich, Mike Davis, Alfredo. We got Bud C, Diggity, Jacobs, Jimmy J, Cass M, AK, Glenn Smith, The Piper. We got Juan Padilla, McNephew, Cesar. We got, oh, now it's moving too fast. Come on now. Lo-Fi Soul. We got Fun Media, Stock Up, Jacques, Sunray. How about Neilio and Cactus Jacks? Love how that's spelt, by the way. Good little name there. Jai Singh, The Skips 8, Todd McLean, Stay Cozy. What do you think, Randy? Should we keep going on? Hey, there's the man himself. We got Zeke. Not Zeker, Randy, but Zeke. We got Adam DeLuz. Shout out to ADL, Alpha Company. We got Mezcala. Isn't there an alcohol called Mezcal?
I think so. Yeah,
something like
mezcal,
that. Like it's supposed to be like a new version of what's it called? Tequila?
Yeah, the mezcal.
I don't know. We got George S., Shane Adams, Michael Almu. We got Kurt D, Memes, the Corleone family. We got Apex. How about Antoine? And a couple of more here. Mitchell, Andrew. We got Yar, Dollar Bill. One more, Daddy Gator. What's going on, everybody? I hope everybody had a fantastic weekend. Very interesting moves, Joseph, on the weekend. Not a quiet weekend, that's for sure.
No.
Especially if you, you hadn't been following what was going on. You probably log in Sunday night to check the account, do Monday prep. All of a sudden, bang, your IBIT position is up 10% one night. Yeah, that's the situation.
Yeah, good stuff there. I got the news in. Put in the old chat there, and yeah, it's good stuff. So we're going to see what's coming up with that there shortly. I thought they were going to continue this climb, but the overall market seems relatively weak. We have a lesson today, guys, so we're going to just roll through the top performing sectors real quick here and see what we got cooking up, okay, guys? So in first place, a little bit of a shocker here, guys. Real estate up about 0.8% here, and then we got the financial sector up about 0.5, closer to 0.6 there, guys. Excuse me, healthcare sector in third place there. So the win play show, we got the show with healthcare sector up about 0.5 as well too, folks. So good luck there. Then we're going to go from the third last to last. Consumer discretionary up about 0.1% here. So still hanging on to that positive price action here, guys, as the energy sector heads a little bit lower, down about 0.4. And then we got the tech sector down about 0.6 as well, too. Before we send it off to Sharif real quick, this is what we got kicking off. If we can pull up my chart real quick. Here we go. Perfect. So we grabbed the bottom there on NVDA, added to the position, and then we just got stopped out break even. And then here we go with some Tesla. We took multiple attempts on this. So this is TSLA. You know, I like to use a leverage derivative, slightly cheaper, and you get those larger percentage gains. So entry 1, stop out 1. Then we get right back into it there, guys. Piece out of it, and then stop out break even. And then I'm just doing some basic trend line analysis with here. Enter again, stop out break even, and then we entered again. And then once it breached that trend line to the downside, then we just got out of that position. So not a bad
there's breaking news for Apple here. I don't know what's going on. There's nothing moving the stock, but Tim Cook posted this on Twitter. Tim Cook posts video to X saying this week, video says there's something in the air, and this is the video that he just posted there. This is on his X account. Something is in the air according to him. Can't maximize the video. There we go. Sorry? I can't hear you because it's playing in the background, so I can't. So anyway, that's a video right now for Apple. Again, not really moving the stock whatsoever. I'm assuming this might be the new MacBook Air or iPad Air. I don't know. Something to do with the Air. They have their whole line of Air products. Again, no stock movement right now, guys. Let you know if that ends up happening. All right, we got lesson of the day. We're talking about the measured move as we started discussing last week. So this lesson dives in to using the true range TR, and the average true range, ATR, they're different, to identify intraday trends, helping you navigate the dynamic world of short-term trading. Let's get down to business. As we always do, talk about things from a high level. What is true range? So let's talk about understanding true range and what it means. So imagine a stock is bouncing between the high and the low prices throughout the day, okay? You got your 244.03 on Apple, 239.82 low. That's the high and the low today on Apple. So the TR goes beyond the simple difference between these two and captures the market's overall movement. Here's how to calculate it. First and foremost, you want the current high minus the current low. So you would subtract 244.03 from 239.82 if you were to do that on Apple. Then you want the absolute value of the current high, which is the current high, minus the previous low. Now, you don't really need to memorize this or anything like that. The program does it for you, but it does behoove you to understand how it's derived. And then you get the absolute value of the previous close minus the current low. So the TR equals to the highest value among these three calculations. So whichever one is the highest value of these three bad boys here ends up being the TR. It considers not just the daily high and low, but also how the price moves relative to the previous day's close. So providing you a more comprehensive picture. And that's what we're talking about here when we're talking about the true range, your current high, your current low. That's method number one. Today's high versus yesterday's close, method number two. And then last but not least here, yesterday's close minus yesterday's close, which is the previous day's close, minus the current low. That would be method number three. Let's talk about ATR, the average true range. So the TR is kind of a snapshot, but it tends, or trends, I should say, to emerge over time. This is where the ATR comes into play, the average true range. It's a technical indicator that smooths out the volatility by averaging the TR value. So each and every one of those values that we got on that day, we would be able to take that value, and then the ATR is a period of over 14 days. So you'd add those together and then divide by 14, okay? So again, it's just super simple. The ATR is the average true range with the previous day's period TR values, okay? Just to recoup again, this is where ATR comes into play. It's a technical indicator that smooths out the volatility by averaging the true range's value over a chosen period. Often it is 14 days that we use the average true range indicator. So ATR equals the average of the previous period's true range values. So slightly blurry over here, but kind of this is kind of explains what the situation is. So we're getting increases when the price has a big jump up. This is the average true range. So you can kind of see the ATR here kind of making those higher highs and higher lows, shadowing the price action. So how do we use TR and ATR for intraday trends? Okay, let's talk about the higher true range first. So a rising true range indicates to us increasing volatility. So this could signal a trend's beginning or the strengthening of a trend depending on the context. What does a lower true range say to us? A falling TR suggests decreasing volatility. This could indicate a trend's end or the potential consolidation period or the beginning of a potential consolidation period. So how do we use ATR here to filter all this out? So don't jump into every wiggle and move. No, use ATR to gauge what the normal price movement is for that stock, right? So if the price makes a significant move exceeding a multiple of the ATR, example, twice the ATR, 3 times the ATR, it suggests a stronger trend compared with a move within the ATR's range, right? Which could just be noise. So what we're looking for on a day like this, when we have like a big outsized move for Intel or Nvidia, which is down almost 5%, you want to see, is it still trading within its true average true range, or are we exceeding the ATR? If we are, there may be something more to the move than that just noise kind of a look there. And remember, true range and average true range are volatility measures, not direction indicators. They help assess the strength or lack thereof of a trend, but do not predict its direction. And you can combine TR and ATR with other technical indicators like moving averages or price patterns for that matter for a more comprehensive understanding of what the trend is. And as always, practice does make perfect, guys. Look at historical charts, identify how true range and average true range evolved during the previously established trends, and you can apply this knowledge to your intraday charts. Observe how TR behaves using ATR and as a filter to identify potential entry and exit points based on that strength trend. So hope everybody prints up a storm on this Monday morning.
Monday morning. All right, yeah, guys, let's see what we got going on. We had this NVDA cooking up, but then now I'm into some Alibaba. I know a lot of people want to talk some options about that, so we will shortly. Someone asked me, let me pull up the name here. Todd McLean said, Joseph, what do you think about some puts here because of those tariffs being implemented on China? I just want to bring up here, as I'm short this name right now for a specific reason, it's just this signal, right? So a nice inverted hammer right above the volume-weighted average price. So we just played the break of that, looking for a round VWAP here. We are running in some prior resistance, which is now acting as support. But if we punch through that, then I think VWAP will be the next target. But now just referring to options, let's zoom out and see what we got going on from a daily perspective. And so they said, hey, what do you think about some puts? Yeah, I'm not going to say no. Just wait for that price action to play out because this sector is, like, China is performing significantly better than what we are over here in the Western world here year to date anyway. So just wait. You don't want to go against a strong trend like that. And if you are buying puts, don't forget that the market maker is going to be on the opposite side of that trade, right? So they're going to be long BABA and all these names. So look for some open interest, et cetera, on that front to see, hey, how much deeper is this pullback going to be? Because you can see that the volume is starting to fall off a little bit as well, too. So is the momentum cooling down? Yeah, possibly, but just be wary, right? Like I'm not going to say no. Put in those risk measures and just see where the price action tells you. Wait for that news event to come out. Wait for everything to actually play out, and then play the price action based off of that. But here we are in some Alibaba. Hopefully that helped you as well, Mr. McLean. So yeah, just be patient with it. Let the price action play out. But here we go. We're starting to pull back towards it. I have definitive risk measures here. So 134 and we're going to get out. But I do like that inverted hammer right above the volume weighted average price. We got a little bit break here, but then just running into prior resistance acting as support as I previously mentioned. So hoping that we can come touch into the volume weighted average price. I don't know if we go any south of that. The market is really mixed this morning, and I thought that it was going to be relatively strong, especially with some Bitcoin news coming out and what happened on MSCI on Friday. A nice rally into the close, which was really nice for some of the big tech names that are really down on the year, Sharif.
Yes, sir. Okay, here's what I'm looking at, guys. Let's bring in the trusty side charts and talk about these small cap gappers that I'm keeping my eye on today, baby. I got my eye on you.
You know what, Ion, that movie, what was that Will Smith movie when he was a cowboy?
I'm a cowboy.
Yeah, oh, that's frustrating me.
I just want to sing, Joseph. I don't want to talk about movies.
All right.
I'm just
I'm
playing on me. I can't sing up if my life depended on it. Let's talk about these small cap gappers, though, guys. BTAI, the OG of the small cap gappers on the today, up 175% and 146% since that bell rung. So this is an after the market kind of move. It is a dang rocket ship right now. I put in a dip trade on this. It's a kind of a random area, man. I'm trying to foreshadow the 10 exponential over here. Basically trying to put a dip trade at 5, mid 60s. So we'll see if I get that print. If I do, fantastic. We'll try our hand into this one, into about that 5 1/3. That's where the volume weighted average price is. But as I look at it after the fact, it hasn't been respectful of VWAP. It's breached VWAP on multiple occasions, both on a wick basis and a closing basis. So I perceive this to be more of a 10 exponential type trade. You have fewer breaches of the 10 exponential moving average on the 5 than you do of VWAP. So if I'm going to use a moving indicator here, it will be the 10 exponential until it shows that it will either respect VWAP or not. Right now, it did dip into 5 mid-70s. I didn't get the fill. I'm waiting in the 60s, and it zooms up back into $6. So BTAI, awfully volatile, but putting a predictable higher high, higher low pattern. As you can see, though, the candles that bamboozle are plenty. Once, twice, OB, dang, thrice. What does this mean? That means when we get into these area highs, it's being met with aggressive profit taking or short selling. It's happened on every occasion that we made a new high. I'm talking about that 950 candle. I'm talking again about that 1010 candle. This is on the 5-minute, by the way. And then last but not least, that 1045 candle. All of them are topping tail. All of them probably stopped you out if you had your stop too close. So you need to account for that. The range per candle on BTAI is wide. If you don't account for that, you're either going to trade it poorly or you'll keep getting stopped out and get really frustrated. So BTAI, trade it appropriately. I'm also looking at ALDX. This one is kind of doing a rounded top, so it looks like it could be setting up for a short. I'd like to see how this bad boy interacts with that volume weighted average price. I'll have to likely wait till, 6 mid-teens, 6 low teens, something like that. And then we got convict music. And you know we up front. No, here's the deal, Joseph. This one's broken down now below VWAP. Can't trade this. So this is a pre-market high that we still haven't cleared. We did actually clear it after the bell. That's incorrect. The 930 pop took us to 813. That breached the pre-market high. But this breaches my other rule, which is trading above the volume weighted average price. It's going to have to work above $6.50 for me to get interested. ACON still up a respectable 66%, but well off the highs. Soundhound, we're going to leave that bad boy. That's a play from Friday. It's up 5.5 percentage points on the day. If it wants to hold up here, even better. CTM, though, this could be an entry here on the dollar name, okay? So this one has a very predictable, respectable, higher low pattern. Percentage up on the days, 37.5%. It's at the volume weighted average price right now. I like this entry. Oh, I just got the entry right now on BTAI. So let's throw out some orders up in this. You know what? Let's see if we can extract some profits. All right, it's already popping off over here. Let's see if we can get something in the high 80s as well. I'm going to wait at 88s and then see what we can do from there. So where do we got long? We got long 69s. Wet the beak there quickly. Oh, made a mistake there. Just allow me a sec to fix my charts. There we go. Restore. That's easy enough. So that's what we're doing right now, Joseph. We're involved in BTAI, looking for this bad boy to move up to the high side. I'm also probably going to punch into CTM here. BTAI, the volume weighted average price at 5 1/3. We'll see if it wants to hold up above there. What do you got, my man?
Yeah, still sitting in this Baba short here, but I think I'm going to get out of this trade relatively quick because we just have to use this as our stop, right? So I'm playing that inverted hammer, so definitive stop there, running into some pre-market zones, and then if we break through that with that volume, so yeah, that's the game plan. It's looking like we're going to get stopped out here shortly, and you have that isolated volume signature that we need to keep an eye out on too. So yeah, relatively strong, and I was mentioning that before when someone asked me a question about it. It's just, just don't try to short things that are overly strong right now. Market is weak, so there's other things to short, but I just wanted to try that inverted hammer, small size, and that's it. So hold on to that. We're probably going to get out of that if we have the if we do break it, and then that's it. But we're also in some TSLA, and why am I in this? Just because I like the price action pattern here. We're starting to compress, and I do believe that we're going to break. So it's just going to be a matter of time to decide which direction we want to go. But here you can see we got some key levels here, putting in almost double bottom type price action. We do have some wicks, but buyers just continue to push price right back up. So if we can break here with some volume and momentum, then I think we're going to be able to break this range here. This is a key pivot range. And then run into some key pre-market lows, our pre-market consolidation phases, and then go for the pre-market highs. So that's the game plan on Tesla, and they had some good stuff coming out as well too. So a lot of people a little bit dovish, I guess, in this name, as well as Apple coming out with some news, an Air I wasn't even paying attention with what Tim Cook said, but they're coming up with that new iPhone E or S or whatever it's called. I don't think that's a needle mover in my opinion. It's just another version of a phone. And it's funny because Selena has the 16 and I'm looking at my old 10 and essentially the same thing. It looks pretty identical, so not much of a difference there. But here we go, guys, holding on to TSLA. Someone asked me in the chat to look at Pepsi for them and potential entries. The thing is with these names, I think this is more of a dividend play, but just look at this primary trend. This is a lot of choppy mess, so just ask yourself, do you want to invest in this? Like, is essentially directionless for the past couple of years, even though you do get some gains. I shouldn't say directionless, but like it's just like you're up here, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. So more of a dividend play, I believe, on that front. And with the GLPs out, a lot of people are utilizing them and trying to avoid all this type of stuff here, these fast food and all these snack makers. So yeah, we'll avoid that, but you are running into some key resistance zones. If you sit on top of this range, then maybe you can come up and test here, but that's quite a ways away, and we have to keep that in mind. So just be wary, ask yourself, do you want to be involved in that type of beta and something that is that volatile? And I mean, it's not like crazy volatile Pepsi, it's just the ups and downs that you have to continuously sit through, and that's not the funnest thing, right? Like, especially if you like to monitor your count quite often, then you're not going to have a good time with that. But here we go with Tesla. We're starting to break out here, guys. Looking really, really good on this name. Didn't take too much, but we're on like our third or fourth try. The only reason I'm continuing to take stabs is that they're working, right? So you just got to be really, really patient. So what I had initially for my first couple of entries was this trend line that I drew. And then once we broke it to the downside, you can see I just got out. So I was expecting it to hold. It grabbed some more liquidity, and then now it looks like it wants to climb slightly and slightly higher. Let me get this off here. But yeah, BABA is going to be a trade that we're going to hop out of here not too shortly because it looks like it's going to break that high. It is holding relatively well as Tesla continues to climb. So we're going to start to take some out here on Tesla, Sharif.
All right. Sounds good, Joseph. I'm just layering my orders. We're going to set up. Guys, there's a monster right now by the ticker RADX. Oh, baby. This bad boy is halted to the upside, halted at 764. It's up a decent 52.8%. While it's halted, we're going to talk a little bit about it. Very low volume on the day so far, 598,000 shares traded, and I've got no more information on it than that. Let's see what Trade Ideas has to say about RADX. It's also got a very, very little amount of information. So instead of giving you the wrong information on that, I'm just going to stay quiet about it because this one says that there's a 1 billion share float. I'm pretty sure that is not accurate. 1.5 billion share float, probably a pre-split type situation. But we're involved in a couple of names right now. I'm involved in CTM at VWAP, looking to take the first print there at $1.52. It's at $1.52 right now, but it'll have to cross for me to get in. This is the one I'm involved in, though, with more share size. BTAI, it's got a 15-minute red setup with 3 5-minute candles, all negatory, but it's still above the volume weighted average price. I've put my beak witter there at 5 1/3 to get in more shares to the downside. My cost basis is 63. It's showing me 51s. I did scalp a tiny bit to the high side on this one, but nothing really to note. It's going to have to hold this 5. I'm putting my stop below that 5 1/3. So I'm going to give this one a little bit of room here, but it's going to have to continue to hold this general area. Otherwise, we're not going to give too much back. The higher low situation is still in play. So if you were to look at each area, trough 440, initially there, then 460, then about 520, and then now if we hold up here about 540, give or take. So let's see if this bad boy wants to hold on to the volume weighted average price. Let's set up some orders on this bad boy up here for the level there. I'm also keeping my eye, as I said, on CTM. Let's see how we're doing on that. Okay, we got the print to the high side there. Now let's see if we can get that 155 print. CTM up 42%, a bit of a slow mover, but a predictable area to get in because it was the volume weighted average price, of which it's been respectful on the day. This is the one I'm waiting for it to open right now. It halted at 1120.30. So, I got stopped at a BTAI. Wow, that was quick. What a quick drop there. Let's see if it defends 5. Whew, that was a quick, aggressive drop there, so we'll go negatory on that one. I'm not going to get long below VWAP. It's going to have to set up So I don't feel too bad about this. I said it wasn't really respecting VWAP, so I tried to base my entry on the 10 with my stop being below VWAP. Now it's kind of breached both, so there was really nothing that I could do here from a trend perspective to avert that. You win some, you lose some. We give back a little bit on BTAI. I'll keep my eye, though, on CTM and this one, RADX. Like I mentioned, halted 764, 11/20/28. Let's find out what time it is right now. Are we about to open or what? 11:25:10. So this one should be opening in about 10 seconds or so on RADX. The theoretical auction price, 794. We're halted at 764, 790 now. Point is, it's a little bit higher than what we halted at. So not a bad look right now on RADX, up 52%. Sorry, I can't give you more details on this one. There it is, open to the upside. 794 now, high a day. The halt level, as we talked about, 764. Let's go ahead and wait over here at the halt level, possibly to get a bit of a dip trade. Oh, what's going on over here? There we go. Yeah, I don't want to chase this one, but this one is going. Okay, so it is breaking away. 850, it's going to take out the high there. 853, RADX now up 70%. This one's really going, guys. Didn't want to jump into it too aggressively there in case it lost the bid, but we are higher now, 853. It could halt here if we hang out here for about 10 seconds. 853 is the level we will likely halt at. If you got a few more seconds at this level, yeah, it does look like it's going to be a real halt as opposed to a false halt here. Yeah, so we are halted 853. The tap showing me $9. This could be the one. Let's see. Again, sadly I don't have enough details on this bad boy. Let's see if eSignal's got more information on this monster over here. Where'd we go? There we go. Main. Then we can type in like this, RADX, and then I should have the detailed information about it over here. Yeah, this one's not giving me much either, to be quite honest with you. So basic, let's go to stock. Okay, well, yeah, it's not doing much either there. So yeah, I'll definitely keep looking around, see if I can extract some more information about this RADX. But Joseph, this one is headed to the high side.
High side. All right, guys. Yeah, so here we go on some TSLA. I still like the setup, but we're just going to be patient and wait for that volume to step in. I did get out break even, so just being really tight on the risk measures here. So enter, took a little bit off, not enough, unfortunately, and then we got stopped out break even. That's okay, because we'll just wait for that secondary entry. And what I'm really looking for is the break of this resistance zone. Let me clean up the chart here, guys, so you can just kind of see what we got going on, without having all those things. Without all those fills on there. So yeah, this is the resistance zone I'm looking to break. I want to see that momentum and that volume really kick in as we push through those key levels, and then we're going to look to participate. The issue with that is, what I'm going to talk about is the RBR aspect of this. So I have to risk to just below VWAP, right? You don't want to be mid-range or anything along those lines if we do decide to break and then pop up with some volume. So that's what we're going to be extremely patient for, and just sit here and wait. Adam DeLuce had a very interesting comment and a very good question. He said, Joe, what's the options market? What's the options market looking like? We're going to talk more about that as soon as we get back from Madeira.
Here's an update here. I first posted a couple weeks ago, but now because the month of February is over, we're about 1/6 of the way through 2025. And if you recall, we actually had the chance here to pick our stocks of choice. It's actually, I think, the graphic from the first move. So let me get the one from the most recent. Here we go. This is actually the most recent one. This is our first graphic here. As you can see, showing up quite a lot here on Palantir. Tesla, a bit of a struggle. This is as of the end of February. So this is how everyone's doing here. The percentage up or down that each pick is. You can check this out on X at TTV Research for more context. But basically, each of us picked our top 3 stocks that we saw for 2025. We had, of course, Palantir dropping quite a bit from last time we got this graphic. Tesla, also much lower than it was initially. I want to clarify as well, this is for all of the equities as of the close of February 28th is when I got these numbers or these percentage changes from. For Bitcoin, I used the close on Sunday, but it is worth noting, of course, we've had some moves in this already since. I'm just trying to use the end of the month to keep it pretty consistent. So with that in mind here, how is everyone performing? This is the ROI on the average of all 3 investments. So Neil, Sean, Sharif, and myself, you're all positive. Brendan and Joe both red right now. And actually, our total picks flat, negative 0.16. So basically, average of all of our picks haven't performed much at all this year to date. But About 10 months left for the year. I'm going to be updating this every month and every quarter to see how these picks are progressing. Again, this is from that Jimmy Carter stream that took place on January 9th. You can check that out if you want more context. Back to you.
Get it, Neil.
Yeah, get it, Neil. I had a boy Neil climbing from behind there, taking the top spot off
Neil.
of Sean. So
All
we
right.
saw it.
So
we saw it is,
we're all gunning for you then, Neil. Now you're in the sights now, Neil. All right.
because this
He's
guy's
good with
going,
that. I don't think he minds.
No, he doesn't.
I don't think he minds at all.
Yeah. So that's a tough look.
He's like, just don't touch my food right now. Like, oh, he's not try not to spill his food.
Yeah, so
My bad. Oh wow!
Oh, I ate the other piece there last time. Thanks.
So Joseph's been eating Ram's food in the fridge.
Yeah.
And Ram, kind of to be passive aggressive as she always is, she put one there for him.
Thanks.
And then let him know that she put it there for him to eat. Implicitly, she's tacitly telling you, don't touch the other one, right? Is that?
But no, I think she said she put another one in there for us. So that's what real friends do.
Real friends.
Yeah, that's what
she's
real
got
friends.
She's got you conned there, Joseph.
That's what real friends do.
Wow. Yeah. Well, keep drinking that Kool-Aid, buddy.
Yeah. Yeah, guys. Good stuff there.
Good time.
Yeah, great times. Good stuff from Adara, too. I'm really liking that. Yeah, fantastic stuff. Thank you so much for Adara. Yeah. That's fantastic work there. I'm sure some of these names are going to start to pick up a little steam. I mean, once Bitcoin starts rolling and we got some big news going on there, watch out for Brando, because I believe he has it on his picks as well, too. So that thing can go up a couple 100% in a year or 100% easily. So just be wary of that, because once the ball really, really gets rolling, then watch out. It's hard to stop that moving train, especially with Bitcoin. And I thought that was going to be the case kind of over the weekend. We engulfed a whole week of selling. We just engulfed in a couple of hours off of that tweet by Donald Trump. So looking for that continuation in the momentum. Unfortunately, with IBIT, it did not continue. But what we can do is we can look at it from a daily perspective to see what's going on, and it's just filling gaps, right? So it's obviously not a coincidence that we get to the top of this gap here, and then now we slightly reject. We had the inability to break through this key support level, and I think that was some really, really key, this 95, 92 area, and then we just kind of sell off and then enter back into the gap. Are we going to continue in the momentum? I think only time will tell, and we just have to be patient to see what's going on with that reserve, if that EO is going to be officially signed, and then we get that reserve, and then I think this thing is going to go just parabolic at that point, or maybe it chops around a bit. But again, Sharif, it's positive news for you to get to that 125, and with news like this, I think you're going to get there in no time, to be honest.
I don't know, brother. I think I've just kind of accepted the eventuality of that bet, and if I win, fantastic. If I don't, too bad for me. All right, so here's the deal, guys. We put some shares on here. I fat-fingered. I didn't mean to have this many shares. I'll just tell you, quite frankly, I had like 5-6 times the amount of shares that I normally take, and so we're extracting here on BTAI to the high side. Now I'm setting up here at 75s and the 79s. This one reclaimed VWAP and has a bit of an aggressive move up over here. We're long 43s, so let's see if this one wants to weasel up. You know where I'm waiting, man. We're gonna wait at 69. If I'm in the 60s and I don't have an order at 69, I'm shutting down the show. We're not gonna even take any more trades. So we're gonna continue to wait over here to the high side on this one. This one does look like that respect either came in at that $5 area or was a 20 exponential moving average. I can't quite tell, but it is technically a higher low. So again, if you were looking at the lows previously at 4 1/3, and then above that at 4 1/2, now you're looking at the higher low on the 5-minute at that $5 area. Let's switch to 5 and kind of make my point over here as it comes right back down into my area. So area low, and then another area low, each one a little bit higher than the previous one. So we'll see if this one wants to work back into that $6 area. I'm not going to allow any part of this to go against me. So we're going to go ahead and put a little bit of an order. Oh, here we go. It is coming against me now. Drop down. If it doesn't pop up, I'm going to flatten out over here. Let's see if it wants to work back above that $0.50. I'm not going to give back anything here. If it loses 40 on the bid or on the ask, I'm going to flatten out. So far, it's not quite yet. So right back above that 50 it goes. That'll give me an opportunity to throw at the stop exactly that I wanted. So we'll go ahead and wait like that, and then we'll go just like that. So now we put in the stop in play, and it is no more a subjective decision anymore. CTM, yeah, we extracted one out over here. This one dropping back down into VWAP. I don't know how I feel about CTM trading in this way. I was really looking for a higher high here to break above that 9.5. So it does look like it is losing that area right now. So if we drop anything below that $1.44, excuse me, that's going to be the end of the trade. But RADX continues to fly to the high side now, 961 high a day. It's now below 9. The volume weighted average price at 8. Something tells me this is not even going to see VWAP for a hot minute. I hate punching in at these highs, but I don't mind building into the position with small share size. RADX is the one I'm talking about, guys. It's up 80%, was a lot higher, obviously, when it was at that 961. Let's go ahead and punch in here. No, I'm not going to punch in here because it's coming back down. I'm going to wait at 8. That's exactly what I'm going to do. Let's go ahead and wait like this. At 8.10, we'll see if we can get something on a dip trade and a move back into VWAP. That's what I'm going to try for there. Likely will probably not get filled because it is right back into that $9 area. RADX, excuse me, is a monster. Back to BTAI, I'm still waiting at 69. And then, yeah, right back down it goes into 40. So this one, yeah, I might have had a good trade by accident on this one. Let's call a spade a spade. Fat fingering in like 5 times the shares I normally take. I'm obviously getting a nice bump up there, but I don't think the pattern is really assisting me. In the sense that we're putting now a lower high than the previous high at 570 something. So this one feels like we're going to continue with our lower highs, hence why I moved up my stop loss order. CTM did break into that 144, so I did get stopped out for the remaining amount there on CTM, so we'll give some back. I'm either going to get filled at 8 here on RADX, or looks like I won't take the trade here, Joseph, at least not yet, not unless it sets up in a different way. So focusing on these 3 right now, we're 1 for 1, positive, very done well on BTAI, but gave back a little bit there on CTM.
Yeah, I mean, guys, for me, let's see if we can start to flip the bias a little bit here and continue with that downward momentum, because that's what it's looking like. The market's starting to pull back in, and then Apple started to trade higher on that news by Mr. Cook himself, and then just engulfed that whole range that it kind of broke out of on a bearish candle. So is the sentiment weak? Yeah, let's wait out. We're going to just widen the stops, take a little less shares, and then see where that leads us, because Tesla is still slightly positive on the session. It does look like it wants to break out, but one thing that we need to keep in mind here, guys, is that the volume on the volume by time profile is really weak. So as we go to push through key resistance zones, we need to have that volume step in here in order for us to kind of want us to confirm that breakout trade. But if it's not, and if it's dwindling, then I'm just gonna be like, hey, let's continue with everything to the south side. We got to widen the stops and everything along those lines. But if we break through some of these key levels, then it looks like we put in a double top, inability to reject this, to break through this resistance zone, and then maybe we go back and test the low a day. Amazon's at the low a day. The Qs and the SPY are heading towards that as well too. Baba's still relatively strong. That trade seems to be working out right now. So yeah, we're gonna go with the short side here. Google slowly turning over as well too, guys. We got that turtle shell type price action implementing here. So inability to breach through the volume weighted average price, slowly curling over and then now running into some support zones. Let's see if that can break. Again, if we're looking for those breakout trades, we really want to be confirmed by volume and that pickup on the time of sales and in the tape as well too. So that's what we're going to keep our eye out on for. I'm going to be really patient with this Tesla trade, because at some point with this price compression, we are going to break to a direction, and I'm just going to look to participate on that front. All right. So yeah, guys, if you guys are looking at anything in the chat, please feel free to let us know and we'll go over it real quick, because I'm just sitting on my hands right now. But here we go with Apple before I send it back to Sharif real quick, because I know he's got some stellar trades cooking up over there. But look at this. We break through here, run into some key resistance zones, prior aftermarket and pre-market areas, and then we just reject and then just engulf this whole zone here on Apple, Sharif.
You ever see White Man Can't Jump? The original, not
with Woody Harrelson.
Yeah.
No, I don't think.
Seen that?
Yeah, I might have seen it. Yeah, but that's
the
like
one in Venice Beach.
My
the
God,
Venice Beach one.
I knew.
Hold on, don't say nothing yet. Neil, you know where I'm going with this, Neil? We go and Sizzler.
Oh.
We go and Sizzler. Oh man, this is a banger right here. I feel good about this trade. 8-10, literally have bottom wick. If I could show this chart, let me flip to the one on this bad boy over here. Literally bottom wick. The only reason I have bottom wick is because that was a volume weighted average price. All the way up into that 8.25. So we'll hit the dollar winner on this monster. RADX Joseph holds VWAP to a dang T. Right back into the high side we go. 977 now. High of day doesn't take out that 980. It is up 85%. What a monster move right now on RADX. Let's see if this one wants to continue going, baby. We got 10 coming up real soon. That's about 23 pennies from the high of the day. Something tells me 10 is going to get taken with no problem. A 979 now high a day. We're printing 69s here on the ass, so we could easily break above that $10 area on RADX. Joseph, I don't even know what this company does. Like, I'm looking up here at the bladder. I'm not getting any information. So, sorry, can't pass on along any information about the short float, the float. I mean, Trade Ideas is telling me a 1.5 billion share float, but something tells me that's likely pre-split. So let's go ahead and have a look at the daily chart to see if this bad boy did split recently. And it didn't. What is this weirdness, dude? Okay, so this launched, I guess, as an IPO. Doesn't look like it was a SPAC here or a direct, I don't know. Back on December 5th, highest point ever, was a breach of that $50 area, and then we've been basically selling off, hanging below $6 for the most part. And today is like really the first outsized day since, day 2 and 3 of the IPO. So we'll keep an eye out on this one. Definitely interested in it again if it comes up and sets up in the right way. RADX, Joseph.
RADX.
Radical.
Getting ratty. I was just about to say getting radical there. Yeah, good stuff there, my guy.
Sir.
Holding on to this TSLA, let's see what's cooking up with that one. Some people in the chat are asking thoughts on PayPal, little fintech here. We can talk some of that. PYPL. And see what's going on with that. Yeah, from a daily perspective, not looking too pretty. So here we go, guys. Let's see what we got from a percentage metric off of those highs, about 25%. So a lot of these names getting banged up, so not looking too good. I'm pretty sure Visa's doing half decent as well. Yeah, so yeah, oh wow, Sharif, you mentioned this to me the other day. Yeah, exactly. You mentioned this to me the other day, and here we go, continuing to climb higher and higher. Maybe I should get involved in this because this looks like a really, really strong name, and I guess it's really popular, one of the more popular cards. But yeah, that's Visa. PayPal not looking so good. If you're looking fintech here, then yeah, may as well just maybe go with Visa or some of the stronger names. But yeah, guys, holding on to this Tesla. We got this trend line here that I drew out. I don't know why it's not displaying on this, but this is what I'm just following. So we had the inability to construct any new higher high. So we're forming these higher lows, which is really important. Gonna look for the break of the base, and if there is, we're gonna go somewhere in the mid-range, and then that's where I'm gonna start to take some off the top. You can see that we had multiple trades on this. Trade 1 right here, stopped out. Took a bunch off here on number 2, entered again here on the hold of this trend line, got stopped out break even, and then we entered again, stop out, and then we're gonna enter this trade one more time to the short side. If we sit on top of this, if a one minute candle sits on top of this and then continues to the top side, then I'm just gonna be wrong on that thesis, and that's okay. But other than that, guys, we had that Alibaba trade that is still slowly grinding lower and lower. You can see that it didn't break through that hammer candle high. So if you were just a little bit more patient, then you would have been able to get up here as it failed to break this high and then just take it all the way down there. So opposed to me just being in here, now my risk to reward is vastly skewed. I could have took some off here at the attempt of the touch of VWAP. But let's see what we got going on for top volume this morning, especially in some of the larger names. I have my scanner's a little bit different than Shreve's, but I'm going to get his metrics actually very shortly because he's got the small caps. They're moving really, really nice. But again, NVDA at the top of his class with 137 million shares traded thus far in the session. And then INTC with 61.7. PLTR sitting in that show place with about 55.2 million shares. And then SOXL, so a derivative for some of the semis there, with about 54.4 million. NVDA is just extremely weak today. We took a couple trades on it, but it's just continuing to move south of 120 here. Now we're sitting at 118. I mentioned last week that we got to watch out for these key support levels that are pointed out. So this is going to be the next level. If it breaks, then we got to look for the next target. And I'm going to say that's going to get close to that mid 100, 110, 105-ish if it decides that it wants to go to the south side. So yeah, here we go. Really long consolidation phase. It's essentially done nothing since June of last year. Just to keep in mind, considering that we were up over 100%, couple 100% for the past couple of years, but now we just entered this consolidation phase, just like Microsoft. So watch out for these key levels. 115, I think, is going to be a pivotal moment in this name, Sharif.
All right, guys, RADX, new high day, 1027. It was going to false halt at, I think, 1015, 1010, somewhere in and around there. Ends up breaching that level, makes a new high, 1027, coming down now, still well above the 10, well above the 20. It's one of those anomalies where VWAP is higher than the 10 exponential moving average. You don't often see that on small cap gappers. VWAP now really moving up 8 2/3, whereas the 10 exponential sitting at 8 1/5. So I'm going to wait for this bad boy to calm down, come into 9, come into VWAP, something predictable. I don't want to punch in at the highs. RADX is on one, and it's going to be in focus for me today. But I also want to talk about Nat Gas. As Adara showed up there, it's one of my picks, and I'm not Nostradamus or anything like that, just kind of trying to use technicals to my advantage. Nat Gas up big on the day, 7 1/3%. This thing keeps putting in higher lows and higher highs, and I'm not going to take credit for this. This is Michael Noss's trade. Okay, what Michael Noss brought to my attention on Nat Gas was a decisive close above the 200 moving average, which it could not do for the life of it, basically since September of 2022. This is the daily on UNG. The last time Nat Gas, obviously it's closing above the 200 now, but look at this. It wasn't able to close above the 200 since the double top, that very, very well-known double top that we put in, that we popped into, August of 2022. So the last time it was able to close above there was early October, late September. Now that all changed when basically towards the end of last year, that December 27th, January 3rd, or 2nd, the first day of the year, was when we actually defended Nat Gas. Most notably, we come back in and we test it. We test that 200. It gets defended. It gets tested again over here towards the end of January, and we make newer highs and higher lows. So really liking the look on Nat Gas. It's up 7% today. To me, this is a play. It's an AI play, okay? It's not just about nuclear and using nuclear power to power these data centers. You're going to have to, diversify your power sources, and I'll submit to you, Nat Gas, given the current price, looks at being depressed from historical, being really close to historical lows, or at least recent lows, does look like it's a good value for your money right now if you're looking at powering these very expensive data centers. So Nat Gas in focus. Now you can trade this one of several different ways. Keep your eye out in the chat for Jay Lee. He's often trading Boyle, which is a triple levered ETF corresponding to Nat Gas. You don't have to trade that one. Sorry, that's a twice levered. So it's 2 times levered ETF for Nat Gas. You can also trade UNG, which is just, it's a Nat Gas ETF. If you have access to the futures contracts, you can trade NG, which is, I think they call it the Henry Hub Natural Gas. It trades on the NYMEX. So it's not on the CME, it's on the NYMEX. Yeah, you can trade the futures contract there. I believe we are using, let me just make sure which contract that we're currently on with Nat Gas. It is NG. I believe it's the March contract. Yes, we're still using the March 27th contract. I don't believe we've rolled into the April 1 quite yet. So those are different sources that you can use, obviously, in order to access a Nat Gas trade. So I'll keep my eye out on that, but very much still interested in these small cap gappers. In fact, let's bring in the side chart here, see if anything's set up anew. BTAI is going to be on my S list until it can work its way higher above VWAP, stay above VWAP, and then show me its intentions to start trending up again rather than moving sideways like that. ALDX is different than RADX. They both have DX as the last 2 letters in the ticker. RALDX kind of doing a rounded top, coming into that volume weighted average price at 613, 615. The volume on this one, though, has dried up, and as a result of that, it's no longer a viable trading option. It's got to be liquid for me to be interested. So ALDX might lose its spot on the side chart there. ACON is going to lose its spot very, very soon because it is below VWAP right now, and it has been staying below VWAP. In fact, it's making lower highs, and if we breach that 494 low of day, that will be a lower low. So ACON looking like it's giving up the ghost over here, despite the fact that I wanted to trade it. Yeah, why not? We could be singing ACON. Oh, wow, RADX, bro, is the gift that keeps on giving, Neil. It just won't stop making higher highs and higher lows. It's a 1082 now HOD. I was waiting at $9. I just removed that order. It's no longer valid. This thing is really going right now. But as I always say, with these monsters that start breaking away like this during the midday, please trade them carefully, use the appropriate size given your experience, use proper stops, and make sure that your stop placement is not just subjective. Well, it's always subjective, but it's not just put willy-nilly based on how much you're willing to lose. It should be sound stop placement. So if you're putting it, prior bar low, below an area trough, etc. So make sure it's sound stop placement. Otherwise, you're going to get really frustrated getting in and getting stopped out because it's very volatile. It moves dollars at a time, right? So you're like, oh, I hate this stock. Every time I get in, I get stopped out. Yeah, I feel that. Trust me, been there. But usually there's a reason for that. And here it goes, 1092, 11 to high a day now, Joseph. This thing is on one. It's going without me. I had a decent trade on anymore, but it looks like a bad trade now because it's like $1.50 higher than where we got out. I suck.
We'll call him Devin Haney hands.
We're gonna have to get into that fight.
Devin,
bro,
that was a fight. He lost.
Man. I know, but I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing for boxing right now. No, I like this.
Lamont Roach guy. Yeah. I mean,
he impressed me, Joseph.
Big time. His defense was immaculate, and the thing that I noticed, right, and he can take a punch. And one thing that I really noticed, Sharif, is that he just kept making Tank miss with his left hand.
You saw that?
Yeah, like he kept making him miss, and I'm like, wow. And he rolled him really well. One thing that I think with Tank, he is a smaller guy, but he was just getting in too tight and wasn't giving himself a little of that distance. And if you check, he didn't get his uppercut off very many times.
Rarely.
And that's right. And that's Tank's like go-to punch. And Lamont's defense was just too tight and just extremely well. So for those who watched that fight, it was definitely entertaining. And let's see what you guys think, man. I think that Tank lost for the first time in 30 fights, and he got lucky to walk away with the drop.
You could tell Tank knew he was not ahead. Tank dropped his hands in the last two rounds to lure in Lamont. Lamont wasn't buying. And I kept yelling at the TV like a crazy man, don't fall into his plan.
Don't fall into it.
Yeah, because you could tell Tank was trying to lure him in because he knew he was either going to have to knock him out or he had to have 2 big rounds.
Yeah, exactly.
And let's call a spade, Joseph.
Oh,
that was a knockdown.
That was a knockdown.
That was a 10-8 round that wasn't called.
You can't just be like, hey, let me take a knee here because there's something in my eye.
Come on,
no, man. Everybody knows. Yeah, great fight. Everybody's loving it. It was a really good fight. But the thing is, though, I was worried about Tank the past couple fights, especially against Frank Martin, because he looked really good. But then he obviously got knocked out. But then Lamont Roach came in and didn't really play into any of the mind games or anything that Tank's like really, really good at. So really good fight there. Great weekend. And more to come, guys. A big UFC fight coming up this week. Bang. But here we go. We're in some Apple. We're catching things off the bottom here, guys, to see if we can hold. And we did. So a nice indecision candle at the low. And then now we're just taking it to the top side. I know a lot of people in the chat are saying, Joe, Tesla. Yeah, I got stopped out of that one to the short side, and now it's starting to break out to the top side. And we're seeing that volume slowly start to stair-step higher on that breakout, and that's exactly what you want to see. As we punch through some key resistance zones, that volume is really starting to pick up, guys, so that's a positive note for the breakout. I was short here. Then I said once we break that trend line to the top side, then I'm just going to get out and see what's going on with that. But here we go. That is confirmation of the breakout. We really like this one here. Continuing to stair-step higher and higher on that 5-minute time frame, so we'll keep an eye out on that one, and hopefully we can continue to rise. This is the next target, in my opinion, for Tesla, that 304.29. It may take a while to get there, but as long as that volume continues to accelerate, then I think we're going to be sitting in a good position with some of these big names because the market is starting to pull back in here, heading back into the middle of this range. And I like that point that Sharif was mentioned earlier, is that like, hey, you don't want to just have your stop in no man's land. You want to find it above and below support and resistance zones. Like if we were to play a breakout here on the Qs, there's no point in putting your stop in this mid-range because the chances of price being attracted to those levels are extremely high. So that's why risk to reward is extremely important, and having the ability to put your stop in zones that the market hasn't necessarily touched yet. So valid point by Sharif. Let's continue to hold on to this Apple trade here. I think we might climb higher in today's session, Sharif.
All right, I'm crazy. I punched long on the halt parameter down on RADX. I've seen this story before. A very small share size though here, guys. I've seen this story before. I punched long while it was showing me that halt parameter, so I literally do have 1 penny below the halt level 39. I punched long 38. So we'll see what comes. Right now, it's obviously showing me a terrible tap, a theoretical auction price of $7. It's $2.39 lower than where I punched long. I'm going to take my chances here because I had a nice big move up on it. So here's the deal. I'm not going to allow anything lower than 8, so I will put a script order which operate even when this thing is halted. So normally on the P Pro system that we use at Real Trading, I would have to put an order called a market on open order, a moo order, okay? And the production team's the best. Everyone started mooing. No, the point is, I can kind of get around that. I can use a script order. Script orders, they sit on our servers until they're basically triggered for order. So I'm going to put an order below $8 right now. Let's go ahead and put that in. We're going to go 795s, and then we're going to give it, we're going to have to give it quite a wide spread over here. So we're putting a 795 stop order. That's literally below the area that I punched long in. Now we're showing 77, 770 top. Let's see if this one catches a bid. The reason I punched long in here is not because I'm insane. Well, maybe I am, but the reason is I've talked about these ones that halt before. And even when they halt to the downside, if they're respecting trend, if they're still putting in higher lows and higher highs, if they're above VWAP, if they're above that 10 exponential moving average. And what I've noticed in the past is even though they halt to the downside, that trend that trend to the upside continues. And it's not a hard and fast rule, and I could get absolutely rinsed on this, but I'm going to give myself the opportunity to try. Okay, so again, ineloquently over here, what I'm trying to say is when we're moving on up on a stock that's halting, sometimes even though it halts down, it still continues with the trend of higher highs and higher lows. I'm going to give this one the old college try and see exactly what we get. We already got, so when I punched log into this, okay, the tap was 5 something. Now the tap's 837, still $1 lower than where I'm long. Obviously, it's not a good look, but that's what I kind of anticipated, that the tap would work its way up to a more reasonable level, something closer to where we actually halted. 831 now, the theoretical auction price showing me. Shout out to Nimit. Can you please review CCG? That's the one from Friday, I'm assuming, Nimit, right? Trying hard to break $1.50, but can run if it does and the volume comes. Thanks in advance. Nimit, you only have to ask, and then I just execute right away. Shout out to the OG Nimit. Let's have a look at CCG. So just give this one a second to load over here. But from what I recall, CCG was that big boy runner that we had on Friday. And yeah, we definitely had a nice move there, taking $1.36, started out, I think, south of $1. So it's continuing today. So this is a second day play, Nimit. Not bad, 18.5%. Shout out to you for keeping an eye on this one. The volume is a little bit light. You probably already know that, Nimit. CCG, what's the volume? Show yourself volume. CCG, okay. Volume is 1.29 million. Yeah, so the thing is though, Limit, you're saying that the volume coming back. My concern is the volume over here is putting in lower highs. So the volume is drying up after that 930 pop, to be expected though. I mean, you can't, for the most part, you can't really expect the same amount of volume to take place at 12 o'clock that you saw at 930, unless there's an obvious catalyst. What I do like, Nimit, is that you're getting a counter move here. So volume is making lower highs, but guess what? the price action making higher lows. And if you take out that 149 that we put in at 1120, that'll be a higher high. We're about 2 pennies away from that. Let me know how it goes. It's not one that I would choose them at because of the volume. But yeah, it definitely doesn't have a bad price pattern there. All right, so we are going to Adara at the Big Dash. It's going to do happening now. Then Neil's got his lesson of the day.
Themed intro. We're going to take a look here at these markets. This is the S&P 500 double bottom as of, this would be around like 1 or 2 p.m. here on Friday. We closed near highs for the SPY. Then today we push even higher in this gap up and then continue to push a little bit lower here to the downside for the S&P 500. NASDAQ here pretty similar. These names initially started pretty strong on the day. Now they're both basically flat. Here's MSTR. This is another name that had quite the parabolic move. And so for context here, in case you missed it, Donald Trump around 10:30 yesterday morning did tweet out about a crypto reserve, specifically initially mentioning XRP, Cardano, and Solana. Then having another tweet about 2 hours later saying that, of course, Bitcoin and Ethereum will also be included. So lots of crypto hype here. Initially leading these names to gap up, including MSTR, on the hope of Bitcoin reserve. They gave up pretty much all of this move, though, as we got that open. Intel going to be on watch here. Another Trump-related catalyst. We've had reports here that at a planned announcement here at 1:30, there will be an investment announced from TSM into the U.S. So Donald Trump and TSM expect to announce this investment. Oh, I keep saying announcement. So investment expected to be announced here 1:30 p.m. Eastern. I will be following that. Make sure you are cautious around 1:30 p.m. Eastern. Again, it's expected to be an investment news here from TSM into the U.S. Back to you. And to Neil, who has lesson of the day.
Thank you very much there, Adara. Lesson of the day time. And when you got a chop fest in the market, or maybe I don't want to call it a chop fest because we had a distinct direction to the downside. Whenever you have kind of a whippy day, which is what I'm going to describe here in the ES or the NASDAQ, you do have to be able to, I think, pivot from maybe like, your A ideas, B ideas to maybe something you weren't even looking at before. But then the other side of it is show an extreme amount of patience for the other side of the trade that you might not have been considering at 9:30. So first thing, or 8:30 when you're preparing. So the ES and the NASDAQ, hey yo, what up? The ES and the NASDAQ having that late day rally on Friday just to set things up for you. And we looked strong. I mean, gap up, all that good crypto news. The market was looking really strong, holding the top end of the range, running into resistance. It's like rinse top and then right back into bottoms, kind of holding the middle of the range. It's just a really whippy, fail to break the high early and then fail to really break out of morning lows or back in higher. So you don't have that big V-shaped recovery. Same thing on the NASDAQ. Like it looked strong for a while. Then we lost a bid, but didn't even break back a prior resistance level, so you're still hanging out in the middle. It's easy to get whipped around when the market does that to you. Now, a lot of people, I'm assuming there's a decent number of people, I should say, that were probably looking at Bitcoin or crypto-related stocks today. And yeah, you can want all in the world for this to be a breakout. And I did. Prior resistance around this 53 on IBIT. You go right into it. You're trending into it. It looks like it's a bit of a break. Once it lost the bid, it was like, forget about it. Like the gap fill was tremendous, but you had to wait for it to make that absolute bottom. Like how are we long on IBIT? We're waiting for it to try to fill in that gap and then take whatever the long happens to be. Because it wasn't as big as you would like. You'd like that to get all the way to VWAP, but you've just got to wait once it makes that fail break. Don't force it. Like you can say, well, it didn't break this, but I want the long. You can be forcing it in here, which sometimes I would do. I don't think you want to. But once that's gone and suddenly that long isn't there for you, you got to be able to pivot. And you saw me try to find some short trade ideas. One of the quick things to do is to just go through the list of what is in play. So on our watch list and on a lot of watch lists this morning, probably would have been names like Rigetti and IonQ would have been out there and some of the quantums that were gapping up. So all I did was when looking for short plays as we were bouncing back and that Bitcoin was failing, show me something with a short setup that I like in the moment where the longs aren't there for me and the market's looking kind of trend down, but it doesn't do anything crazy. So I want something where I can short the pop. I had a choice between AMD and IonQ, and it's a very simple reason why I liked IonQ. All I want to see is a setup confirming the trend down with prior resistance and support levels. And this was a simple one. Friday's high on INQ was a flat bottom break at the open. Then it held on the bounce. That same top holds on the bounce for one, and it's also holding VWAP. Then you're putting in a higher low. So there's your roof. There's your, lower high, I should say, and they're both coinciding with VWAP. So I like a VWAP retracement on this stock. And just try to keep it relatively simple. And INQ wasn't on my radar, but I had a bunch of long ideas out there. And the second the long isn't working for you, or the longs that you've taken are exhausted and they're not looking good anymore, and you're trend down, it's like hunt for a short. You don't have to stray too far. What's already in play? What's looking weak? Now, we could have gone a lot of places for something like this. You know, I could make an argument, yeah, but like, why not say Amazon? Amazon's got the same setup, and I grant you that's absolutely right. It's breakdown off the open. You had, that was a crazy move at the end of the day, but prior to that, you had a prior high here at 211. You could have worked over into Amazon, but the reason it was easy to go over to INQ, it was in play. Knew there was extra volume, was on the watch list already, so it's one of the names that's on the iPad or it's on your mini watch list, so you jump on over to it. But when you see that kind of a curl, it's not about going short. Like, going short IBIT wouldn't have been the right move. You could have had a small win. You're looking for the thing that's weak that you can jump on over to. Just because you got a bunch of long ideas on a choppy day, or you're exhausting the early moves, it doesn't mean that you've got to flip those stocks. But what it can mean is you have to expand your list a little bit and look for those really obvious setups in the other direction. Because you would have seen it. The market was falling. It's like, what's short? What's a good short? What's a good short? It just takes a few minutes to be able to scan, see an obvious level, look for any confirmation from that level, and then take the trade. Like with Amazon, you could have had a stop with maybe 20 or 30 cents for a short trade. With IonQ, it's not that difficult to see that setup. It fails there. You don't get to have it off of the top, but you do get to take it off of VWAP. And again, the risk is going to be 15, 20 cents at worst for a move, the stock that can move about $1. So there's nothing wrong with jumping from one direction to another, but you can save yourself a lot of work by looking for a very, very simple setup, prior day highs, prior day lows on stocks that are already in play and already on your watch list. That way you're not scanning too many symbols. That's your lesson of the day. And the other one is make sure you got stop orders in, and make sure that you're keeping your ear to the ground for the news around 1:30 if you're trading any chip names. Because you know things can move around when we get these types of announcements. So good luck out there, everybody.
Thank you very much, Neil. Yeah, I got stopped out of RADX. Yeah, that bad boy didn't hold. So we give back a little bit on that one. Kind of disappointed with myself a little bit. I tried. We tried this one. It was very strong into $11. I theorized it would hold VWAP and then kind of open up a little bit. It tried. It did its best to get above $9. It couldn't do it, so we ended up getting stopped out on this one. We'll give some back. RADX halted to the downside now. 953 initially. It was halted at, I believe, where was that halt level at? Yeah, about 930 or 939 exactly. We ended up opening up 855, and then the best we could do was that pop in 889. So the selling too aggressive. Now we're below VWAP, below the 10 exponential moving average. So this one not going to be for me until and if it can get above that $9 area. And the reason I say $9 is that's where VWAP is hanging out right now. So RADX, it bamboozled me, Joseph. Bamboozled me. No, I give back some on that one. So yeah, that's kind of the way it goes. Can't win them all. Shout out to Showtime one. Well said, my friend. Let's look at what else is moving on the side chart over here, guys. BTAI boring me to death. What's happening with this one, Ram? I mean, like, it's just hanging out below the volume weighted average price. It seems to be holding up at $5, but definitely no discernible trend other than just holding that 5. Acon continues to do nothing. Soundhound broke below VWAP, trying to work its way back above that 11 1/4, 11 1/3. It does have a higher low though. Soundhound up 4%, was way higher at the highs there. TGTX, I think Neil may have called this one out in the morning. I'm not sure, or that was TN something or another. You didn't call this one out, did you? No, he didn't call it out. My bad. TGTX been kind of looking like you called that one out, Adara?
Yep.
Yeah. This one, I remember somebody calling it out. So this one, look, it's not a bad look over here. It's got a 33.75 area low. VWAP has been respected on occasion, and some other occasions, not so much. I'm talking about this area hold up over here, but you can see a clear and decisive break of the volume weighted average price on the 5-minute chart, and then it tested again here with this doji candle at 11:45. So it's broken the lower high situation that we were involved in, and now it's kind of looking to test that $36 high day with this last little pop up into 35 and 2/3. So we'll keep that on watch. But yeah, there isn't really anything to my liking right now, guys. In small cap gap world, I'm just looking at the above scanner here on my top monitor. Nuke. Oh, okay.
Okay.
Nuke. Yeah, NUKK, guys. Decent move to the high side. Volume a little sus, though, on Nuke with about 340,000 shares. That is just not going to cut it, man. That's light on volume. We can't deal with that. We're going to throw that on there in case this one wants to catch a bit of a bid, and by extension of that, volume comes in. As you can tell, it's trading crazy spready right now. 11.25 to the high side, and then look at that. It just dropped down to 11.67, pops up into 18.67 pops up into 18.93, and then right back down. So I can just gauge a 20 or 30 penny spread right now on the nucleared one, but not going to deal with that until it tightens up and more volume comes in. So that's my situation right now, guys. Stopped at a BTAI on this one. What's it called? RADX as it halted down. But we'll keep an eye out now because there's no small cap gappers to my liking. Let's have a look at the MAG. Let's see what the situation is with the MAG 7 over here. Who's looking the best of the bunch, baby? And they all look ugly. Each and every single one of these charts is very, very ugly as a long. Now, you may like it as a short, but I'm looking long over here. And the only one that I like to the long side is Apple above 242.5. We've got higher lows on the dead one, Apple, and then we've got a bit of a double top there at 242.5. We're showing 242.10 right now. Yeah, that's an interesting one. So AAPL could be good. Tesla also has a higher low situation going on. It's not really respecting or disrespecting 3. What I would say is Tesla is an area trough, a little bit of a higher of an area trough, and then a little bit of a higher of an area trough. Also higher highs too. Local highs, that is, not still above pre-market highs. So Tesla could be interesting. We'll see there. NVIDIA had a nice entry at VWAP if you were smart enough to get that at $120. It wicked in double top at $120, which also happened to be VWAP. And there we go, right back into that area low at around 118.50. There does seem to be a buyer here on NVDA at about 118.50, but I would be careful picking that up as a long because we are putting in lower highs. So this one feels awfully flat bottom breakish, and that's one hell of a bear flag that it's got on right now. This big boy move to the downside and using VWAP as that resistance level. So NVDA, interesting look here. And then Amazon. You and I were talking about Amazon, Joseph, before we got onto the show. Lower highs, lower lows. I don't know what the hell has been happening with Amazon lately, but it has not had much of a bid. We are on our way likely to that $200 Bezos shelf. Let's have a look at the 1 hour here on Amazon. What is that looking like? Okay, it's too convoluted. We're going to have to remove, by the way, these pivot points, which we're using seldomly these days. I might as well remove them, period. Let's have a look at that 4 hour, Joseph. See where we're coming from over here on that Bezos shelf. Yeah, so we've been in a kind of a free fall state on Amazon since the beginning of the month, dude. What am I saying? Since for a month. We started putting in those lower highs and lower lows. Is this earnings day? That's interesting. I'd like to be able to see those. It looks like an earnings day over here, February 6th, just given the algo spike to the downside there. But yeah, basically since, I want to say, yes, February 6th, we have been in a lower low, lower high situation on Amazon with really very few outlying days. You got a bit of a bid here, February 25th. You caught a bit of a bid as well on the 26th, but it all ended on the 27th with that topping tail candle, and then down we go again. So that $200 shelf on Amazon could be a great buying opportunity, man. I don't know. We cleared it by some distance, going all the way up into that 242.5. So I'm gonna be interested. I've never owned Amazon. as a swing or as a whatever investment, a $200 level and a hold there could be quite interesting. But that's obviously not an intraday play. Meta as well, very much interacting with the volume weighted average price. Obviously, from a negative sense, any pullback into VWAP here has been sold off. You got a bit of a wick through VWAP at around 10:30, so that could have stopped out some people. But look at this pop at 11:20 into VWAP. You probably wouldn't have got stopped out there, and you would have made a nice $5 banger as it dropped down to that ominous number of 666s. Speaking of 666s, it does look like that level is being defended on the day. So even though we did wick below that at 10 a.m., look where the closing print is. We're at that 666 level. And then again, at 11 o'clock, we test 666s. And again, at 11:40, 11:35, we test 666s, all the while making lower highs. So I'm not saying this is a flat bottom break, but you could get a flat bottom break on Meta. It's not beyond the flat bottom break anyway. 666s could be a nice buying spot on Meta, and I would be looking to short into that 671 area where the volume weighted average price is hanging out. That's my look at the mag. I mean, we're flat on the market right now, Joseph. We're up 0.07 on the NQ, down 0.06 on the ES. Likewise with the Dow, 0.06 in negative territory, and the Russ catching the worst of the bunch. And I mean, worst is relative here, 0.15%. Katina, man, on that Russell 2000. So not much happening in that regard. Joseph Wilson.
Yes, good look there, guys. I just want to point out here how identical the Qs and the Apple charts are. They're just kind of moving in tandem right now, guys. So I'm looking for the break and the continuation. We're still in this Apple trade, but we're in down here, and now we're just trading above the volume weighted average price. But as you can see on both charts, we have some key resistance zones that we need to mark out here. And what we need in order for us to break through, and I'm going to talk about it time and time again, is that you need that momentum and that volume really to step in order to punch through these key levels. So you can just see how they're kind of moving in sync there. Very highly correlated today on today's session. So we'll hold on. We're positioned very well on Apple. We entered here small size, and that's two risk units right there. And then just continuing to grind higher and higher. So it looks like a new MacBook Air coming out there relatively soon, tweeted by Mr. Cook himself. So looking forward to that. But yeah, holding on to these names, hoping for the continuation. Tesla is starting to pull back in, but again, you can just see how heavily correlated these three charts are, guys. So we punched through that volume on the 5-minute time frame, did start to pick up, stair-stepped higher, and now we're starting to pull back on lower volume. So if we hold this range very well, maybe you can get that continuation. But I'm looking for the Qs to possibly break out, and if they do break out, then I'm going to hop in on this break of the zone and through the break of that resistance area. But let's see what Adair's up to, guys.
Just be aware here, I'm getting news here. CNN reporting that the CEO of Taiwan Semiconductor is set to meet with Donald Trump on Monday or today. Now, this echoes previous reports that we had here from the Wall Street Journal suggesting that this investment announcement that was teased earlier today by Donald Trump himself, the president of the U.S., there is some indication that this announcement will have to do with TSM announcing an investment in the U.S. Again, this is scheduled to take place at 1:30 p.m. Eastern, so about an hour and 15 minutes from now. We'll give you more updates then. But here's Taiwan Semi. Intel also made a pretty big move to the downside on that initial report from Wall Street Journal. Not doing too much right now, but INTC and TSM among the tickers that are going to be on watch here as we await the 1:30 p.m. announcement from Donald Trump. Likely expected to be TSM related, guys. Back to you.
Thank you very much, Adair. And yeah, that Apple headline, speaking of Apple, because you were talking about Apple, that we got confirmation over here that it will be the new MacBook Air. If I can show my screen. Timmy Cook teases Apple launch of new MacBook Air. So Tim Cook, as you saw, I showed that to you guys earlier on X, took to social media on Monday to tease the launch of the new MacBook Air. This week, Cook wrote in a post on X accompanying a video that had a tagline, "There's something in the air." The Cupertino, California-based tech giant is in the process of revamping its MacBook Air line. It is expected to include Apple's new M4 processor built in-house, obviously, along with some other internal updates. Earlier this month, Cook also used X to tease the announcement of the new iPhone 16e, the newest member of the Apple smartphone lineup. So Apple shares fractionally higher right now, up a fifth, Joseph. I don't know how you feel, man.
I like that second point there. just down a
Which
little.
one? Go ahead.
The buyback there, how it just kind of, it's gonna like the
Oh,
500
yeah, the 500 billion.
right, can affect buyback and margins.
Absolutely, and we talked about that. But again, I think it was all, a little magician's work there with Timmy C trying to convince Donald Trump that he was actually forking over 500 billion of new money. That money was already earmarked, dude. Right? Like, I mean, it's just some accounting stuff there.
Yeah, it's a little gimmick maybe.
Yeah, it's
you can
fine.
call it, right?
Everything's fine.
We'll call it what it is. But I mean, yeah, I agree with you, Sharif. But I think it's just always hopping back to the same narrative of, okay, like you come out with the new iPhone, whatever it may be, and then are you coming out with the new MacBook Air? But like, what is that next step, right? We know the computers are just getting better, the phones are getting slightly better, but I don't think it's a massive needle mover in order to like take this company to even a higher level than what it already is. So I'm just waiting for that.
You want new devices. You want something new.
Something,
I don't
right?
blame you, bro.
Right? Just bring something down the pipeline.
Yeah,
so.
I like where Meta's going with this, bro. I think Zuck is kind of, he's gambling in the right way. Good for Zuck. And he's done this before. He's bet on himself. He's bet on his products. And every time he's done well.
Yeah.
He's got
with the exception of the metaverse, but maybe. Right?
But I think that's still to be determined, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like metaverse is going to still be a futuristic thing.
Yep.
The street doesn't like how much he's spending. Completely agree with you on that. Yes. But I think that Zuck, the new form factor will kind of be the glasses. But we've seen Apple. They never invented the smartphone.
No.
But
they perfected it.
Yeah, exactly. Let's just call a spade, man. It was the iPhone that kind of moved the needle with respect.
That's an Apple Watch you have on.
It is.
Too,
It's
right?
not very good, though.
No, you don't like it?
No, I don't like it.
Really?
No, it's piss poor at keeping my heart rate at elevated levels.
Oh, really?
It loses it. And so, therefore, my calories are incorrect.
Your calorie count?
Way
okay,
off.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, it bothers me. It bothers me a lot.
I was thinking about getting one myself, but maybe it's just better to get a Fitbit or something along those lines.
I don't know, man. Because Brendel complains about his. He's got a different one. He's got the Google something or another there. He complains that it drops his heart rate at elevated levels. It's not accurate with the calories. It's kind of annoying. I think you just have to kind of accept that.
Yeah, early stages of things, I guess, maybe, even though it is relatively old. Yeah, exactly, 10 years. But I mean, in the grand scheme of things, I guess the bigger picture, maybe not too bad. But again, that's what I want to see, right? Apple, you have to come out with some augmented glasses.
I agree with you.
Or something along those lines, right? So where you can just have your phone in your in these shades themselves. And I think that would be an absolute game changer. The Vision Pros are pretty cool. Have you tried a Vision Pro?
I've never tried it, dude.
Yeah.
Never tried it.
Yeah,
But that's my thing.
right?
I think that Apple was kind of getting their feet wet with that. I never thought that they actually wanted to make that the flagship product. Joseph, when they dropped it last year, they made it very clear they want to sell 350,000 of these things in a year. They fell short. Full disclosure. But when you sell 350,000 of something, compare that to the insane amount of iPhones they sell.
Right.
So I thought that they were just getting their foot wet with the product, right? And I never thought that would be the final form factor. I think that the final form factor is going to be something like that.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I mean, if you and I are sitting here talking about it, there has to be people in Apple headquarters like, okay, we got to dive deeper into this. We need to take this thing to the next level. So yeah, we're just waiting on that for Apple, whether it be a cheaper iPhone or a flip phone or something like that. Just take the product to the next level, and I think that's what it needs, right? Because we know with the previous guy, Steve Jobs, he was coming up with the iPods and everything along those lines. So that was just groundbreaking stuff. Everybody at one point, I believe, owned an iPod, and I know I did. I owned multiple.
Same.
But it's just like, yeah, take this to the next level. And the thing is with the Vision Pros, if they were a must-have, word of mouth spreads like wildfire, right? So we would have been like, hey, this is a product that we need to get our hands on. And unfortunately, that hasn't necessarily been the case. But here we go, guys, in Apple, continuing to hold on this trade, working out really, really well. 241.33 is where we're at. We're sitting around 242.33, so exactly $1 as we speak right now, continuing to hold on and climb higher, looking for this breakout on the Qs. But the thing is, though, Sharif, I think we need NVDA to start to participate because otherwise it's just going to continue to hold the market back. The market cap is way too large in this name, and if it's going to sell, it's going to drag the market down with it.
Absolutely, Joseph. Guys, I'm keeping my eye on these small cap gappers, and they're all giving up the ghost at the moment. There's really nothing here except NUKK, which has a prohibitive spread. I mean, that's a spread right there, 66s, 74s on the ask, 44 on the bid. Come on, Nuke. I mean, like, give me something a little bit better. And it's a good looking chart pattern too. Like it's a respectable chart pattern. And on top of that, being a good looking chart pattern, the volume is picking up. I mean, we're getting higher highs in the volume. Typically, we don't see that with these small cap gappers. You're seeing that here. The only thing keeping my hand out of this is, again, the prohibitive spread. I don't like that. It makes it harder for me to trade. You have to account for more slippage. Sometimes your stops will go unfilled. Sometimes your profit takers also go unfilled. And there's a whole different way to trade these these spready names. Just ask Daryl LePage at the big desk there. So we'll keep an eye out on that. But Nuke, definitely not for me until and if it tightens up the spread. TGTX as well, a respectable looking pattern. But this one also has a bit of an annoying spread, and the volume is also dropping off a little bit here. It's been respectful of the volume weighted average price at times, and then disrespectful of it at other times. And by disrespectful, I mean it didn't hold up at it, guys. Just a little lingo there. Yeah, breaching there, double bottoming at 33.75 before reclaiming the level at 34 1/3, and then moving on its merry way, knocking on the door of that $36 level. It's up 19% and change, so it's a good looking name, but there is really nothing in small cap gapper world that I like at the moment. I am sad to report RADX is halted to the downside again after being almost up 100%. It is now a Christmas tree retracement. Shout out to Randy, who came up with the term, Joseph. That is not something that you want to see there if you're a small cap trader. That is ugly. Very, very ugly. And to be fair, we've been trading these small caps now every day for like almost 4 or 5 months. And this is not something that you see often on the small cap gappers. Once you kind of get a good trend under your belt and you hit that triple digit area, especially if you did it incrementally and not all of a sudden all at once, you don't usually give back the entire move like this in this quick of a fashion. So a bit of an anomaly here is RADX, but I've seen it all before. Let's see what everyone's talking about there. Drops trades at Booberman. Pay attention to Sharif's rules. He is actually, thank you, I really appreciate it, brother. Look, I try to give you guys what I perceive to be the best trades, and then you guys, if you want to size up on them and go in heavy and print up a storm, I could not be more supportive of you guys, but I'll try to give you what I perceive to be as the best level. Shout out to Adara in the chat. She trades these very spready names awfully well and is only getting better at it. Rohit Sharma, Palantir looks good if it breaks low of high of day. Let's have a look at PLTR. Oh, higher lows here, Joseph. Higher highs, higher lows. Okay, I like this, Rohit. Shout out to you, my man. We're not usually trading Palantir. That's usually reserved for the Katina man and the Neil, but quite frankly, this looks like an upward channel to me here with the low. Obviously, you know me, I'd be looking to pick it up off that 88.50, 88 1/4, wherever it comes down to. But what I perceive to be here is an upward channel on PLTR. I'd play the ranges until you get a big boy breakout. But I see your point. You're looking for that high daybreak, Rohit, above that 90.50. I wouldn't play it like that, but I respect what you're looking at there. I personally would be looking at getting it in towards the bottom end of this trend line. And then if I was to get in, for example, Rohit, if we dropped over here on Palantir down into 88 1/4 super quick, I would place my stop below the previous area low. So I perceive this area over here to be the area trough. I'm talking about the 5-minute candles between 11:35 and 11:40. So if I was to punch in at, say, 88.50 at VWAP, my stop would by rule here be below this area trough over here at around 87 1/3, 87 1/4. That's how I would play Palantir to the high side. But you could definitely play it in different ways. You don't have to wait all the way until it comes down. And it may not come down. Let's be honest. It may not come down into that lower trend line there. The trend could change. The market could catch a bid, and Palantir could be above 90.50 in a heartbeat. Trust me. I've seen it happen. Trust me, bro. Bhavan Patel, Acon looks like it's getting volume back. Brother, I am not touching Acon until it gets above that 650 area, and I'm still concerned about Acon. Let's talk about why. So we've talked about these ones with big pre-market moves, and I'll submit to you, Acon had the best move in the pre. We were putting in higher lows, higher highs, and despite the fact that the opening range at 930 on Acon took the pre-market high, it made an 813. Look what happened after that. All hell broke loose to the downside, and we gave up the entire move, almost the entire move that we had in the pre. Now, we are holding up at this 5 1/4, 5 1/3 at a predictable level. What's that predictable level? Well, it's the high from Friday. Kind of look at this area over here between 5 1/4 to 5 1/2. We topped out there, lo and behold. Once we come down, we hold that general area intraday on Acon, but it's going to have to go above 650. Now, my issue with this one, Bhavin, is that even though we get above VWAP here, and technically we've already taken out the pre-market high at 930, I don't know, dude. I think that this holds the same truth to basically the reason why I don't get into these bad boys unless they're above the pre-market highs, because there's going to be a lot of bag holders up here. I mean, look at all these different levels we got to take out. So I don't touch this until it gets above 8, 813, whatever, even though my rule generally is above that 650 where VWAP is. I don't know how I feel about Acon, but let me know if you're trading it. Yeah, if it gets above VWAP, let me know as well. I'm all ears and definitely interested in looking out for that. So those are the looks I have at the moment. Joseph's got a banger on AAPL. I think that's a great look, Joseph, quite frankly there, man. And especially if you take out that 242.50 on a closing basis, that triple top. Baby.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? So that's what we're looking for, Sharif. Because I mentioned the correlation between the Qs and Apple and some of these other big tech names. One thing that is dampening it, and I mentioned time and time again, is that NVDA is hanging around the lows, and it just doesn't want to see to catch any sort of bid here, Sharif. So not looking very good, hanging around the low of the day, and looking like it might want to take an additional leg lower. So we'll look for these support systems to hold, and then maybe look to take advantage of that in the Qs. But you know what? I was watching. Okay, all right.
Katina Man got long Tesla right now, guys.
Let's go. But you know what I was watching? I was watching that show I told you, Below Deck, and your guy was on there actually for an episode there. Timmy Sykes.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he was doing the charter. Yeah.
Hold on, I saw this dude. He had some on his social media.
It was a while ago. It was really an older season. But yeah, he did like a yacht charter and stuff, and him and his boys were trading on it.
He's got his laptop lifestyle boys following.
Yeah, is that what they're called? Laptop lifestyle? That's very interesting. A different guy. I never knew who he was or what he looked like before. But I thought of you when
he's got the curls.
I seen him. He's got the curls. Yeah, exactly. So like just like me. But here we go, guys. Sitting in this Apple here, really, really well, working out. Doubled up the position here, which worked out really well for our trading, especially because I thought it was going to work. We had that indecision candle at the low. It's not picture perfect or A+. It's just that the market was selling off. Massive engulfing candle here. As you can see, it just engulfed this whole range and continued to do so. So that's what we're just basing the TA off of, and then with that indecision at the lows, and then you just play the break. So once we can construct a new low, we just played the break of it to the top side, and then now here we go as the market starts to climb higher and higher. I'm gonna dab a little bit. I'm gonna dab a little into in the TQs here, my guy. The RVR isn't the best. I don't have much on Apple left either, which is unfortunate for this breakout move. But one thing that we always got to note here, Sharif, is that volume by time profile. So it's not really picking up any steam right now.
Can you explain what you mean by that?
Yeah, the volume by time, for sure. So so we know we have VPOC, right? So the volume by price, essentially. So you'll see where the most volume is concentrated by price. But volume by time is just essentially each candlestick. So whatever time frame you're using, that is a 1 minute bar. That's the amount of volume you're going to see. So I just call it the volume by time profile, because that's essentially what it is. It's volume by time, and it's not volume by price. Yeah, it's not volume by price, for those who are wondering as well, too. So that's what I gauge. So whether it be 5 minute, 15 minute, whatever your preference is, this is volume by time, because every new with every new interval, you're going to get a new volume print. All right. So that's just volume by time. A little fancy twist to it there. Yeah, that's all it is. I don't personally trade VPOC. Did you ever use VPOC back in the day?
No, I didn't.
No, VPOC. I know a lot of traders who like to use the volume point of control, which is just essentially the same thing, but just you were to put this on the volume profile on this axis, and then you just go by the intervals of price. price, not just by the intervals of time there. So, all right, here we go, guys. Really climbing higher here. Hopefully, the Apple can drag up the TQQs with it. I only have about 1 or 2 outs left on this name, and then I'm going to be all out of shares at that point. So that's it. We'll take one more piece off, continuing to monitor the TQs. I'm going to pull it up for you guys here really quick as well. So there we go, TQs. Hopefully we can get dragged up, and I told you that NVDA is trading lower while Apple is trading higher. Not the best sign, so you're getting that push and pull effect. Who's going to win? I don't know, because that volume is picking up on the 5-minute streak as we break key support levels on NVDA. So something to take note of here, guys. Volume picking up through support, just climbing low or crawling lower and lower. Not too good of a look for my TQ's trade.
Joseph, Celsius Holdings up 6.5%. Is at the day high right now, 27.43. What a big boy breakout. This is what we call a flat top breakout there with that 26.90 top bull flag. We all know what a bull flag looks like. And then there's that consolidation period. This is the 5-minute, by the way, on the white chart. Usually I have the 1, but we got the 5 right now. And there you go. You get that big boy breakout supported by the volume. And now we've got the higher highs and higher lows. I'm talking about Celsius Holdings. So that's the headline is here. Celsius names PepsiCo exec Eric Hansen, president, chief operating officer. We're not going to go read that. The market likes what they hear, and it's reacting basically with positivity here, up 6 4/5 right now, guys. Thank you, Adara. I did see that. I do appreciate always basically keeping us apprised of what's happening there. Adara LePage, 27.50 right now in the sights here for Celsius. I'd like this to come back and test a level. Okay, so I may not get 27. I think 27 is too lofty of a move down to believe that I can get that, but I'd like something of the 10 exponential. Currently, the 10 exponential on the 1 minute is showing me 27.31. How about the 5? I don't usually execute or chart off the 5 or the 1. I usually chart off the 5 and then execute on the 1. Let's see what this one's showing me on the 5. So yeah, the 10 exponential sadly is about only 10 pennies or so, 8 pennies higher than the whole dollar level. So the whole dollar obviously is 27, with the 10 exponential hanging out about 27.14, 27.15, something like that. Here's the deal. We're gonna look for a dip trade here on Celsius. Now, I'm gonna try my hand at the $0.25, knowing full well that there's no technical support at the $0.25. I'm only getting in at the $0.25 as an entry position in case this gets away from me. So I'm putting an order out at the $0.25, and then we're gonna do exactly what we said. We're going to hang out at 15s for a dip trade. And then I'm going to even put another dip trade into 27. Let's see over here. We're going to wait over here at 27.03s to front run 27 a bit. So if we can get something here on CELH, I'd be pleased as dang punch. But right now, there's nothing to the downside enough for me to get filled. I mean, it just came down there into the 20s and then right back into the 40s we go. So CELH certainly in focus. Acon, Convict. There you go, baby. This one did weasel its way back to VWAP. Now I'm all eyes in ears. Show me, Acon, that you can get above VWAP. Oh, there it is, Joseph. That was a big move here by the Convict into 687. And it looks like it may halt here to the high side. ACON. Going to move into that 687 area. Let's pull it up on the side chart. Or, sorry, the trading screen, excuse me. Let's show yourself, Acon. There we go. So we are halted to the high side right now on Acon. Shout out to Buvin, man. You called it. I didn't. This is your call out, Buvin. I wrote Acon out and I paid the price. So this one halted to the high side. If it can hang above the volume weighted average price, stay above there. I'm all ears, baby.
Oh, wow.
I will trade this one. Yeah, look at that, bro.
I
It
gotta
just
get involved in
zooms
this
by.
here, yeah.
Zooms by VWAP. And the funny thing is, what I'm talking smack about it, Joseph.
Yeah,
this
the
piece of
Acon.
crap can't get above VWAP.
Yeah.
Boom!
Bang, there it
To
goes.
the high side.
See you later. It's halted.
Right? Yeah.
Bang.
Tough Aldrin. He's like, funny. I mean, I know. What can you say, bro?
What can you
It's
say?
kind of the way it is. So that's the situation right now, baby. We're continuing to watch Celsius, not letting me in. We're continuing to watch Acon. I'm not trying to get into Acon, but if it shows me something a bit more, I'm going to be looking at that. There's my man, Ozan. He wants to hear it. Ozan, it wouldn't be a day unless you made me yellow China. Shout out to you, my man. Hope you're printing up a storm today. Ozan Chile. He already told me it's not said Keely, it said Chile. So shout out to Ozan.
Ozan, the cash cow himself.
Hey, he likes that one too.
It's a very interesting market here, guys, because you can see that Apple is holding on to these levels extremely strong. Sharif pointed this out the other day as well too. He's like, look at the big Mag 7 names and look how they're all selling off. And then Apple is holding relatively strong. So that's a positive sign for this name. But you can see that the Qs are also heading into a support level low as well. So what's going to happen as NVDA continues to crawl lower and lower here? Are we going to break through this on the Qs? It's looking like, especially if this momentum continues to the downside, it is not a good look for some of these big names. I was not expecting this type of price action, especially with MSCI being on Friday, and then you get that pump into the close. Well, it's always good when something closes around the highs of days, right? So I'm like, okay, let's see if we can continue. And sure enough, it's been the total opposite. Tesla has been relatively a choppy miss as well too, but we can just talk about this failed breakout. We did have that breakout volume, but there was zero inability to sustain it. And then sure enough, here we go, heading right back into the range. And that's why we emphasize on risk to reward and setting stops. And I like that point that Sharif made earlier. It's just the fact is, like, you don't want to have your stop in the mid-range, right? So what you want to do is you want to be able to establish a high or a low and then be like, hey, okay, let me get in here. So if you were going to play this kind of like I did Apple, you get in on this candle, on this strong green candle, but then you just play like your stop loss just below that level. Then it's like, okay, if it breaks lower, then I know that I'm wrong and there might be some more downside. But suppose if you just had it mid-range, then it's like, okay, price is just fluctuating up and down, so it's almost inevitable that you're going to get stopped out. So risk to reward and stop placement is extremely, extremely key. But it's crazily insane that Apple is climbing higher and higher, and the market can't follow with it. Hopefully, NVDA put in a bottom here. I'm going to point out this last signal on it before we start talking about something else. But here we go. Is this a potential bottoming signal? Yes, I like this engulfing candle, this volume candle right here, and then right at the low. So let's see how this 5-minute candle prints. And if it closes as a hammer, then we might get a little bounce in the market, especially with the likes of Apple continuing to climb higher and higher. I'm going to hold on to the, actually, I'm going to, no, yeah, 243. I'm going to put an order out for that final out there, guys. Okay, so 243, we should be sitting pretty, and we'll hold on to the remainder of that position. And then now I'm going to wait for another entry on the TQs. So as we climb back towards the volume weighted average price and the market starts to get a little bounce in it, maybe we'll find something. So one thing I've been really finding a lot on my theses is that, okay, test 1, test 2. So what can we do on test 3? And usually on test 3 is when you get that break. So if we can sit and hold on top of this range here at TQQs, will put us around 75.20, and that volume starts to pick up here on the lower time frames, then I think we can break through and then continue that move to the top side. One thing that I want to point out here is that we are forming higher lows right there. So if we come back into that range, look for this range to hold, but then we also have a key support resistance level as well too. So price is really starting to compress, being patient, waiting for volume to step in here. And then if we get that break with that volume, then we're going to participate to the top side. Hopefully Apple can drag this market higher, what it seems to be doing. So yeah, I think now's the time for me to get involved in the TQQs. And I know Sharif's got a car on the side here that we might want to be build here. So what do you got going on there?
Well, the Katina Man and I were talking about this. And Katina Man, we're going to build this car right now. So I don't know if you want to have a look over here. This is the launch edition of the new Model Y. It's finally available in Canada. Here, Randy? Yeah, so I love how you're here, buddy, because we're going to build this car. So look at this, Joseph.
Hold on.
The regular...
We're starting out here at 80.
Yeah, bro, that's the problem. That's the problem. Why the hell is the starting price $84,900? Yeah. It's $85,000. What are we talking about here, man? This is a Model Y. Calm down there, Elon. I mean, it's got a... Look... I think this is a launch series. The launch series, they make it like the high-end model. So you look how we have different options over here. Yeah. We've got the long-range rear-wheel drive, 64. Okay. You got the long-range all-wheel, 68. You got the performance, 73. Yeah. Here, they're only giving you one.
This is CAD, right?
This is CAD. This is Canadian dollars. Yeah, this is ridiculous, dude. And on top of that, you can't even get all this stuff. So let's build this bad boy. We're going to go launch. And then, what do you like? You like this color?
Yeah, I'm cool with that color.
Like,
What other
I'm
options?
okay with
What
this
kind of
color.
options we got
You can
there,
get
though?
red. There's no blue.
No, thank you.
No red, huh? Okay,
No,
okay.
I'm all right with that. The way, I
Selena
think
might like that one.
Yeah, the red. No, I don't know if she likes the red
fine.
one. Yeah.
Silver. I'm
a big silver guy,
okay.
yeah.
I go black.
right.
I'll go black, and I'm gonna keep these wheels, Joseph.
Oh, yeah?
Because I'm sick of hitting potholes.
Okay.
That's why. But here's the problem. You can't even get the white interior.
Oh,
you
no.
click that bad boy. White interior sold out on launch series. You want me to fork over 87.6, and you won't even give me white interior. I got a gesture for you, Mr. Tesla, and it ain't nice.
Oh, what's going on here now?
I know, Katina, man. We gotta exaggerate for effect over here, brother. Right?
What was that? What is this video clip we're looking at here?
Oh, that's the FSD.
Okay.
How much is that gonna cost? Well,
much
it's
is that gonna
included.
cost us?
That's the
Oh,
thing.
okay, all right, bang.
That's why, Randy, FSD included. That's why it's 85 and change. It's a launch series. Like, I mean, give us options over here. The point is, you gotta sell a few kidneys up in Canada to afford this bad boy up this. Yeah, that's. The Katina man already bought Bitcoin with his kidneys. Yeah, so I mean, this is way too expensive.
Yeah, way.
This is like this is Model X. You can get a 2022 revamped Model X for cheaper than this.
Yeah.
I would rather get a Model X a few years old than to fork over that much for a Model Y. You know what I mean? So, and Elon already, he's been liking Canada a lot less lately, and
Yeah,
it's been
of
hurting my
course.
feelings because he boosted up the price up on us big. $10,000, bumped that bad boy up on the Model Y, the Model 3.
Boost those margins, man.
Well, that's the thing. And the Canadian dollar's been getting shellacked. So that's the situation right now. Shout out to my man, SRMR. Guys, we are open.
We're going to send it over to Brando there.
I'm not plugged in. I'm sorry about that.
That's
Yep.
all right. Yeah, so we're going to go over to Brando there. We got a nice little interview for you guys.
My bad.
Hey guys, yeah, thanks so much. We're happy today to have a crypto-related guest here. What a day to have this conversation after what happened going back to late on Sunday. But Sean Anstey, CEO of Liquid Technologies, joining us this afternoon to touch on the Lightning Network and Bitcoin payments powered by Bitcoin's Lightning Network. Sean, great to see you. Welcome, first off.
Thanks for having me on here. And yeah, definitely what a weekend with a $10,000 God candle. We talked about this since 2012, and the day is finally here. So, excited to be here.
Yeah, here we are. I mean, there's a lot to get into here, but why don't we start high level, broad, first off, for anyone who might not have heard of Liquid Technologies to kick things off here. Just give us an overview of the company.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're on the TSXV, we're on the OTCQX. We are a Bitcoin Lightning Network company. So we have a lot of Bitcoin. We have 161 Bitcoin on our balance sheet. We keep adding to it. And we actually use that Bitcoin to provide transaction routing across the Bitcoin Lightning Network. So for those who are not familiar, the Bitcoin Lightning Network takes Bitcoin and makes it really fast. So you've got the layer one, which you'd use to send maybe $1 million, $10 million around the world. We're familiar with that. The Lightning Network rides on top of it and can handle millions of transactions per second. And we sit there as what is known as a Lightning Network service provider, so an LSP. And we have 21 nodes. Nodes are just servers running all over the world with thousands of channels connected to all kinds of wallets. And we sit there running these rail lines as one of the larger providers in the globe on the Lightning Network, and we get paid in Bitcoin and Sats for every transaction that goes across one of our hops, and we may get paid on several times. So that's the Lightning Network in itself, and kind of what we do. We've been doing it for a number of years. We're the only public company that does this. We have a great moat around what we do and a great brand in the space. Everybody knows who we are. So we have a Satoshi per share metric, so we keep adding Bitcoin to our balance sheet, and the reason is this. One, we love Bitcoin. I've been in the space for a long time. And the other thing is, too, the Lightning Network has a technical requirement. You must have Bitcoin on the Lightning Network to establish payment channels with other providers. So our job here is to continue to add Bitcoin to our balance sheet. We would love to get to 1,000 Bitcoin. We'll continue to march towards that. And we put that Bitcoin to work, and we earn Bitcoin with it.
Let's talk about that a little bit to kick things off here. I mean, we showed that graphic there quickly. We can go back to it. But the growth over, just going back to 2021 here, pretty impressive. What is the company's strategy here going forward with that regard?
Right. So certainly continue to establish as many payment channels as we can with as many operators as we can, because we grow with the growth of the network. So we have this ability to have a small but highly effective company with great engineers. We continue to build payment channels with wallet providers and key wallet providers, do the integrations there. We provide liquidity on demand in a non-custodial way, so we do not give up control of our Bitcoin, and we continue to earn sats and continue to earn yields. So we're tied very much directly to the growth of the Lightning Network, which has it grew at almost 1,200% last year, continues to march forward aggressively. And our job is to continue to add Bitcoin to the balance sheet, continue to establish those relationships as a key player in the space, and let the growth of the network carry us up faster than anything else.
Well, let's talk a little bit about stable coins. Give us an idea of what role, first off, they play when it comes to LQWD's strategy when it goes forward. And overall, just from a broad market perspective, what role do you see those playing?
Yeah, stablecoins are huge. I mean, the US dollar is not going away anytime soon here. But what we have with the Lightning Network is an open source payment layer that the largest stablecoin operator, Tether, has now moved into. And they have this technology that allows you to do stablecoins across there, still backed by a Bitcoin across the network to secure it. But ultimately, you have Tether, which is the 800-pound gorilla, and then a massive shareholder, a massive treasury holder, and a very, very large player. So stablecoins are coming for Lightning Network. It represents the ability to have last mile payment to anybody in the world direct to their wallet. It's going to be a huge boon for the US dollar. And for our perspective, we are an infrastructure provider. We want to actually route Bitcoin, route stable coins, and continue to get paid in Bitcoin for doing so. So for us, it represents a market shift as Bitcoin continues to gain market share around the world and brand. But the US dollar is, still $30 trillion payment industry. It's a massive, massive add to the Lightning Network. So we see huge potential upside, and we're very, very excited about it.
When it comes to strategic partnerships here for the company, talk a little bit about what that means going forward. And what do you see as far as opportunities here going into the rest of 2025?
Sure. So we have strategic partnerships with key wallet providers within the Lightning Network space, and so the Breezes of the world, the GetAlbys of the world, and we continue to add them on. We do integrations with them, so we're deeply embedded into their wallets, and those companies themselves appear to be on very high trajectories and growth trajectories. So we grow with their growth, and that's our strategy here. That we don't onboard end users; they onboard the end users. We don't do the KYC, we don't do all that, but we do provide the infrastructure. We do make sure that their payments get routed all over the world, from Germany to Indonesia to Singapore, wherever it may be, and it may cross multiple hops, and we get paid for doing so. So these key partnerships are very important for us because it continues to create a moat around what we do. To duplicate what we do, we take other companies a lot of time. We've been in the space. We figured out how to get audited. We figured out how to do the reporting, and we have large levels of automation. So our job as a company is to continue to add Bitcoin on the balance sheet and work on, how do you run a Lightning Network service provider, routing payments globally with extreme levels of automation to keep your costs very low and give us upside potential of the Lightning Network's growth curve.
All right, Sean, I'll put you on the spot here. I'd be amiss if I don't ask about this. Coming off what happened yesterday with President Trump, he teed up multiple potential announcements, multiple potential events coming through this week. What do you see the end result being here as far as the U.S. government and their involvement?
I think the U.S. government's starting to understand that. Look, Bitcoin is for the digital age for the next 200 years plus. This is a continuation of the revolution of the internet. And if you just break it down to that, you start to understand just how big it's going to get. And America needs to be a leader because the internet is about open technology and open source. But it also benefits the U.S. government because you imagine just the stable coins alone and being able to have last mile reach to everybody's wallet around the world directly. You don't have to go through other banks. The previous administration didn't seem to understand that. They didn't seem to care. This administration appears to get that. And they also recognize that there's going to be a lot of competition. China, it will come along. Russia will come along. There are nation states mining Bitcoin, stockpiling it right now. China made a geopolitical blunder a few years ago by banning miners, and they all fled to Texas. This will go down as a moment in history. But thank God it's gone to America, a voice of democracy.
And seems to be only the beginning, as we'll hopefully learn a little bit more coming up this week.
Absolutely. This is a continuation of the revolution of the internet. That's what it is.
There you go. LQWD, TSX Venture Exchange here in Toronto, guys. OTC QX down if you're in the U.S. LQWDF is the ticker there. Liquid Technologies. Sean Anstey, CEO. Great to see you this afternoon. Thanks for doing this.
Thanks so much.
Yeah, good stuff there, Brando. Interesting from Sean Ansey for CEO. Yeah, I mean, I agree with them, what they're talking about. Revolutionary stuff, Bitcoin, and some big news coming up this week as well, too. We know what happened on Sunday. I was well aware of the situation. So, yeah, it's just a sit and wait game at this point. So, holding on to that front. Again, I was talking about Bitcoin earlier, and when we seen it pump all the way to 95, I thought that, hey, we were going to climb higher and higher and tap into that kind of $100,000 price range again. But we ran right into some overhead resistance on Bitcoin. So let me pull it up here on the chart and see what we're looking at. So we did kind of breach those levels, which is key. But we got to look at this base right here. And I think that's really important to note is that, okay, look at that base. It was acting as support, so we have multiple touches to the downside on it, and then we bounce off it, and expect the same thing, right? So once was support, can now act as possible resistance, but this is a massive engulfing candle. So when we broke that zone, we essentially engulfed that whole range and got all those gains back. We traded as low as 78,000, and within a span of 48 hours or so, we went all the way back to the high of about $95,000. So per Bitcoin, and I'm still going to stay bullish on this name. I did offload my swing here, still holding some on the long-term account, but again, our average is significantly better there, so positioning is really key. But again, this might be a breath here, and then hopefully we can sit on top of this range. I think that's going to be something really important to note, is that if we can't hold this support or now as resistance, then we might head back a little bit lower. But I think we're getting to the point with the news upcoming this week. If it is crypto-related, then hey, we're going to be going north of 100, and then we might even hit Shreve's price target. But this market is absolutely just continuing to sell. NVDA down to 117. Really important stuff here, guys. A false break here, so I entered, and then we got that false break. Even though the volume did pick up on the lower time frames, but we just went right lower, broke through some support levels once again, and then now we're just continuing that path. So you can see that once we broke it, we come back, retest, have the inability to hold, and then now we're going to take an additional leg lower. So Tesla is leaking, NVDA is continuing to put in new lows. Google's about to put in a new low a day as well, too, guys. So the NAS heavy, the tech heavy NAS it's not looking good, and that's why we were talking about China. China is performing significantly better than what we are in the tech sector here. So maybe it's time to look elsewhere and find somewhere that's strong. So speaking of that, let's pull up the staples and see what we got going on that. We're pulling back in on this as well too, but a nice gap up in the consumer staples. So Walmart trading really nice. I'm still holding on to that swing. Unfortunately, it's one of my smaller ones, and it's not going to make up for what I've lost in NVDA and in possibly Amazon. So we'll hold on to this position, maybe look to add a little bit here, but staples is relatively strong here, Sharif.
What's going on over there, Katina, man? Just doesn't answer. Just looks straight at a screen and it hits the stream deck. I just got so shafted.
He's working man. He's working on the dramatic
multiple
pauses.
handles in the money. Yeah, you can show a chart if you want. 100 handles. That's a nice entry there, bro. It's a good looking entry. There
really
you go,
good
baby.
Entry. Really
Shout out
good
to the
entry.
Katina man there, taking the TQQQ short. Down now, 0.83 with the NQ. Katina man down 0.28. So I'll have to see if the blood continues on these here markets. I've finally gotten in a position. I do apologize, guys, for not really being in too many positions today, but there hasn't been really much to my liking in small cap gapper world. So now we're looking at Celsius Holdings. So this bad boy did have a headline today, and it was up well over 6% at that 2750. So I'm long 22s over here. I'm looking to defend into 27s. As I mentioned, this looked to me like a bull flag with the high end being, at 2690, 27 area. So we've worked our way into the position now. We're showing 16s on the ask. I'm long 22s. I've layered my profit takers there to the high side. If this one is to catch a bit of a bid up, it is below the 10. It is now at the 20, but that level of 27 still eludes me. I've got a bit of I've got a order there, a resting order to add into this position at 05. So we're going to keep an eye out here on CELH. The market in general, though, coming down. CELH not being spared, still 5.5%, but the market coming back down aggressively right now. So we'll see if CELH is going to participate in that down move. It already is, being well off the highs, but let's see if it defends 27. Celsius Holdings, guys, the one I'm talking about right now. Let's have a look at the overall market in general, because, as we can already kind of see, the future, and by the future, I'm always mostly talking about the NQ, unless I'm doing my chart in the morning, charting in the morning there on the big desk. Almost always I will be referring to the NQ, and we're at local lows right now. So the Katina Man's been holding that big boy short, but there is a possible support level here. We're already breaching it. So this is a support level I was talking about at 20,832. We already weaseled down there into 25, so already giving up the ghost at that level. The future has felt consolidative. It looks like a bear flag with a big down move there to start the morning on the opening range, and then we kind of have 20,975 to the high side with 20,825 to the low side. We'll see if the blood continues here on the NQ. We had a big boy buy up in the Mag 7 in the market in general Friday afternoon as the NQ and the ES and everything else hit that 200 moving average. That probably spawned a lot of buy orders to the high side, preset buy orders, because we were moving up bigly, to use a term. All right, guys, we got the dip trade there at 27s. So this is now the trade. It's either going to hold up above 26.90 or we're going to give back everything on CELH right here. So it has to hold up above 27. I will give it a little bit of room in case it does wick down. But this move, I'm only in CELH because it was relatively strong. It had a $27 area where I could say to myself, excuse me, you're wrong or you're right, beyond or below this level or above this level. So we're going to keep an eye out on this one. Let's see if it wants to catch a bid. But right now, I got to tell you, everything in these here markets in a state of free fall right now. These small cap gappers not being spared either. I'm looking at my side chart over here, and Soundhound, it wasn't exactly the biggest mover on the day, but it was well up 5-6% or so at the highs there, and it's almost down into negative territory right now. If it breaches at 1082, it'll go red. So even these kind of market adjacent names, the ones that don't really move with the market in general, are getting sold off quite aggressively. I also want to mention Acon. So this one was halted to the high side when Brendo was doing his interview, but true to form, and I was talking to Joseph about this while the interview was happening, you get that high side move and the halt up into about 687, and then to bamboozle everybody further, it moves up after the open of the halt. It moves up into that 7 1/5, and then all hell breaks loose to the downside. I'm always of the opinion that if you have these pre-market highs, and I'll submit to you this 930 pop is essentially that. It's a continuation of those pre-market highs. You always have this downward pressure on these small cap gappers until and if you can take out that major area high, whether really early on in the trading day or in the pre-market. If you don't, it always seems as if, bag holders or shorts keep the downward pressure on these names and you can't get the breakout. You're sitting there trying to DCA like an idiot, trying to get out of trouble, and been there multiple times. That's why I'm trying to say to you guys, don't be an idiot like me and DCA into these if they're trading below the pre-market high, because oftentimes they're just kept down and you really can't seem to catch a bid. So we're going to keep an eye out on Celsius as it's breaking down below 27s, and it looks like I will get stopped out here, sadly, if it breaks down any further. What a move down here on this market, Joseph.
Yeah, absolutely monstrous move down, guys. We're running into some key levels as well, too. So Dear Ollie had a very good point here. How much of tomorrow's tariff sign tomorrow is already being digested with the short drop, in your opinion? And that's a great question. I think the market is really starting to bake that in, right? They're definitely, or whatever they're pricing out of. So I think that a lot of it is going to be priced in. The market is forward looking, so keep that in mind. And I think that's a valid point. So come tomorrow, I wouldn't be surprised if we see a little bit more selling, but you can see from a daily perspective is that we're headed lower and lower. I mentioned this support level here as we bounced off of it and now heading right back towards where we were on Friday. So we're not quite there yet, but again, giving up a lot of this move. We did gap up in the this morning in the market, and now heading lower. So a really key pivotal moment right here. It's a key pivot right here, acting as support level. And then we have an additional one with this massive engulfing candle here on the session, previous session. This was Thursday, I believe. And then, yeah, looking like we're going to head a little bit lower and lower, especially with those tariffs looming. So very good point there, dear Ollie. And nice to see you back in the chat there, my guy. Yeah, I don't even really want to talk about it anymore. But again, we got to, because it is dragging the market down with it. It broke this base of 118 and then continuing to the south side, trading south of 117 here, 116.70 to be exact. NVDA, the darling, I guess, is not really acting so, being a little disobedient, I guess. But here we go, man. Running through some key levels and just continuing to bleed and bleed and bleed. I do believe that 110 is definitely in the works on this name. So be patient and wait for those levels to come into you. And then I think people are going to start buying. But here we go. Let's talk about the TQs here and see what we got going on. As Katina Man went short, I was long on that breakout. But here we go. That volume stepped in, and then it was a false break. So we got to keep that in mind here as well, too, guys. Well, our best trade of the session was the Apple trade. Working out really nice. We're all out of it now. Caught pretty much essentially the peak from that bottom there, and then now coming back into the volume-weighted average price. Warren's calling here. What does Warren want there?
Sitting on that cash.
You sitting on that cash? Yeah, there you go. You got to sit on that cash. Warren is saying, hey, guys, you got to be liquid right now. So you know what I mean? So just listen to what Uncle Warren's up to, and I guess just do what he's doing. But here we go. SPY as well too, Sharif, running into this base. Are we going to crack it? It's looking like it. Test 1, test 2, lower highs here. Now running into support level. Is this market going to start bleeding? It looks like it could potentially go a little bit lower, but Katina Man wants to talk.
130 handles right now. I know, I just wanted to show this. Yeah, it's a little bit of money.
Nice, Katina Man.
No, I just wanted to say it was nothing. A lot of money storms happening over there. And you've come to this screen right here. I just want to show, like, this was just trying to fade off of that afternoon level. We had talked about all last week that, heading into the close, we're not even anywhere near the close, but just into the afternoon as more and more talks come, Donald tends to get the mic, around the afternoon. And it's never really that positive as far as the rest of the world, right? And so you do have a nice downside move here happening. We just starting to cover, and like really proud of this one because we're actually holding on to the majority of it as we come into these days low. So just letting people know that was that trade, and that's what we're thinking. And right now we are starting to cover a bit of this as we get to the lows. So barring any new news coming through, I think this is probably a decent cover right there. So that's just what we're doing over here. And keep going, guys. You guys are doing fantastic. I like that Celsius. What a wild thing. Isn't that a Jake Paul thing? He drinks Celsius and does all that stuff, right?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
you gotta watch out for that stuff. All right, peace.
He's not on Team Prime, is he?
Now this is it's a marketing company, marketing, sales, distribution. Oh, yeah, energy
Yeah,
drinks.
the energy drink. Yeah, have you ever had a Celsius drink?
I never had one.
Yeah, very interesting.
I'm not an energy drink guy.
Yeah, me
but,
neither.
I don't have a problem with them. I used to be really aggressive with.
Well, I don't know. Is it even an
energy
energy drink, or is it just kind of one of those sugarless, carbonated, like non-alcohol White Claw?
Yeah, good question, bro.
Yeah,
good question. The
good
Katina Man's getting amped up on that side, baby. Guys, the NVIDIA, something's going on. And we don't know what's happening with NVIDIA, but you just don't drop 7% in one day when nothing's afoot. So, NVIDIA, we're getting into those deep seek level, Joseph.
Yeah.
Let's go to the 4-hour here on the Monster NVIDIA. Ouch. Yes, we are getting into those levels, Katina Man. Your point well taken. That's that 115 level. And the low of the day, guys, is 115.88. So that lower low, lower high situation on the 4-hour here still very much in play. Wow. With NVIDIA, this is really ugly, and I don't really have any idea why. The only thing that we got on NVIDIA today is them with Broadcom are exploring using Intel's foundries, which is not a negative catalyst. Why would it be for NVIDIA? It's obviously positive for Intel. They've been really trying to build up their foundry business, so glad for them. But I don't see how this is bad for NVIDIA. So this feels more macro related as opposed to anything else. Yeah, the blood is really coming down here on these here markets. Is the Donald talking? What is going on over there? So we're going to have to wait and see whether or not something is afoot there. Adara's always at the big desk, so anything happens, we'll know about it. Yeah, she's got some for us, so let me know when we're sending it to Adara. Guys, we're going to Adara.
This is less of a specific news story, just something to be aware of. In addition to Trump expected to speak here at around 1:30, keep in mind, he is often late. We currently have Fed's Muslim speaking right now, and there's nothing super of note being said, but it's worth noting we do have Fed speak happening right now. Basically, Fed's Muslim saying that there's, quote, good reasons to think that productivity growth is persistent. So mentioning growth, I guess, in the productivity space, also saying that it's a little bit hard to tell if some of the numbers that we got specifically with consumer spending for January had to do with the actual market or confidence, or if it was just a weather-based thing. So the point I'm trying to make here is nothing extremely sensational is being said right now by Fed's Muslim, but worth noting that we do have a Fed speaking that can always add a little bit of extra volatility to these markets. Back to you.
I'm with you in the camp of like what's going on with NVDA. You don't just drop 7% without anything along those lines coming out, or maybe you do, right? So 7.5% now. And look at this. This was a consolidation phase. It broke the low of it and then essentially didn't look back. This name is dragging, and I mentioned before from a daily perspective, look at it just drag everything down. But let's take a look at this thing from a bigger time frame, Shreve. And then I mentioned, look at these support levels that we're going to run into. Now what we gained on Friday is now all gone, and we're even south of that. So something must be up. It's not a good look here. 112, potentially the next range that you're going to be looking at in this name. Are we going to hit that today? I don't think so. But at this pace, anything is possible because there is more downside in the Qs and there's more potential downside in the SPY as well, too. So these tech names is dragging the broader market down with it. Not a pretty look here on NVDA. I'm going to continue to look for some news headlines here, Shreve, on this name. But as of right now, I'm not seeing anything. So we're going to be patient, and I'm sure we're going to find something out here shortly.
Oh, I'm sure we will. Yeah, I'm just keeping an eye on my blotter. Anything NVIDIA related, we're going to bring that to you guys. Celsius, I was able to extract some to the high side there into the 90s, long 76s, but this one wants to breach 70 again. It is at VWAP. I've already put my stop below 65, so it's going to have to hold up this other 5 pennies that we've got right now between our entry and our stop. Not going to give back too much here on, well, I'm negative on it. Let's just be call a spade with Celsius. Don't want to give more and don't want to get more negative on it. That's what I'm trying to say ineloquently right now. So CELH was definitely a good one to the high side earlier, but that is obviously being called into question with this huge market downturn. I saw what the OG there in the chat, Ozan, Mr. China. Can it be breaking? Q1 GDP now forecast has dropped down to minus 2.8% from minus 1.5. Interesting. I didn't see that headline. Shout out to Ozan. I'm looking over here just to see if there's any GDP entries on my blotter. GDP. Not sure what the hell is going on there. What's happening here? Yeah, I'm not seeing that either. But yeah, let me know where you found that, Ozan. I'd like to be able to verify that and to look at it with everybody else so we can kind of have a discussion about it. But yeah. Yeah, a bit of a tougher day, certainly on these markets. So I'm involved. Again, the only trade that I've got, we're 3 pennies out of the money right now on CELH. I'm already negative on it because I was trying to DCA into 27. That didn't work out well, but that was not above VWAP. Now I'm trying to do with the VWAP trade. If it gives up the ghost, which it looks like it is going to give up the ghost, at least that's kind of how I feel at the moment, then we're going to get out of that for the entire thing there. So good, well, not a good look, but a bit of a tougher look right now on NVIDIA. I'm keeping my eye on the Mag 7. Even the dead one, Apple, which was strong on the day, is giving back up as well. Big move down here from Apple into that 243 area. We had touched 244 to start out the day. And then we started putting in the higher lows. So you kind of felt, maybe Apple had an opportunity to retest that 244. I think that's all being called into question as well as we have now. We still do have higher lows, but well, we'll see if the trend wants to continue over here. Tesla is down aggressively as well. Oh, I didn't even see. What's up?
Bang.
Bang.
Bang. That's it, eh?
Okay.
I told you, man.
286 is giving up we're giving way there on TSLA. We had an interesting area, this 293. It didn't even hold up there, bro. We kind of rejected off that area at 10 a.m., popped back up nicely into that 302. You kind of felt like this was going to be the day that Tesla held 300. Think again. We are heading down. We're heading down aggressively right now, Joseph.
Yeah. Well, and we're still continuing to bleed here. Like we're climbing lower and lower with the low of 115 here on the session, guys. The SPY and the Qs look like they have no bottom in sight. So not a pretty look as NVDA is continuing to crawl lower. This is insane. But one thing that is starting to hold positive, Sharif, is Apple. All right. So a nice little bounce here in Apple, just sticking to relative strength. So again, look at all the other big tech names, and then look at this name here. So really, really tough look here. I know the chat's going crazy about something in there. So let's see what everybody else is thinking up to. I know Dear Ollie says, yeah, I think it's just the market pricing in these tariffs. I agree with you. Atlanta's Fed numbers are not accurate, been falling for a while, not accurate in my opinion. Someone else had a very valid point there, but I've lost it, and I'll find it a little bit later, guys. But let us know what you're looking at. We'll go over it. We'll see what everybody else is trading on this session. If you're short, then congratulations to you. And if you're playing the break of these key support levels, then you get a double bang there with the head.
He does get pumped on that
he's
side
getting
of the
pumped
desk,
over
bro.
there. Yeah, he's killing it over there. Yeah, not much else to say. It's just we got to wait and see what's going on here. So yeah, dragging lower and lower, closer to 8% down on the session is NVDA. Not a good look at all for this name. Breaking through some key lows and just dragging everything down with it, guys. So tough look there. We're not in anything. You're in Celsius still, Sharif.
Yeah,
I'm not in anything since Apple and TQQQs. So we're just going to wait. We're going to wait for those bottoming signals. I think at some point, NVDA is going to bottom out because how much lower can it go? I mean, in the past couple of sessions, it had put in multiple 10% plus days. So are we going to head in that path? Possibly. But let's look at the volume profile as it continues to just go lower and lower. Look at this downward volume. Look at this bearish volume here, Sharif. Really start to pick up.
Is that the monster NVIDIA?
Yeah, that's
we're going
NVIDIA.
SSR.
Yeah, we're going SSR here relatively quick here, I think, at some point. But if that volume is sustained, best believe you're going to see south of 114 here, even head into 113s. We're going to need some stopping volume in order for us to stop this this bleeding here, but it doesn't look like we want to. This is insane. Really tough day here for NVDA. But again, to play the contrarian there, at what point can we buy?
Just looking at this.
Yeah, what are you guys going up there?
NVIDIA TD Cowen 45th
Thursday.
Annual Healthcare Conference transcript. That can't be it. Yeah, I'm just looking through the blotter. There's really nothing to justify this move. Guys, you can't move 8% like that. I mean, is this all zero DTE stuff? Is it options market related? I mean, you can't say 8 1/5%. It's gonna be because of that. I mean, like, wow. Yeah, there's really nothing over here. What do you got?
Yeah, okay, so so a lot of names don't have zero DTE, but NBA, I believe, does not have zero DTE.
No, it doesn't.
No, it doesn't. No, so it's weekly. So you only get that with a couple of names, SPY and the Qs. But someone, what's your friend who we was talking about? Ozan said something earlier about some gamma around, like a gamma catch-up or something along those lines. I didn't quite comprehend what he was saying. But what I'm looking at here, Sharif, is there's quite a bit of open interest at 115, and then we can go down another level and go to 110. So that's some outstandish. I'm not going to call it a wall or anything because it's not overly standout-ish. Like, it's not something that's eye-popping, but it's high levels of OI at that 115 and the 110 levels. So we got to keep we're going to continue to monitor those because it might have something to do about it. So, well, I'll read a little bit more into this gamma stuff to see what's cooking up. But see, here we go. Okay, now we're going to get that bounce. Okay, beautiful. I really like this bounce signal here in NVDA. Let's see if we can hold. I knew we weren't going to bleed for the remainder of the session, Sharif. And look at this. Boom. This is exactly what we wanted to see. I was talking about it before it happened. And now this is that bottoming signal that we want. We have a definitive out. If we break 114.50, then that's it. We're out of the trade. But this is an absolute beautiful bottoming signal. Gorev, take a look at that. We're going to try to get involved in this. We're going to use NVDA as our vehicle, not NVDL. Let's see if we get this bounce here in NVDA, Sharif.
All right, man. I'm keeping an eye on it too, because if this thing really starts moving to the high side over here, great look into that 114.5, and then all hell is breaking loose to the high side. You always feel like this is going to be that umbrella pattern where you kind of get that down move, get it, Adara, and then you kind of curl back up off that little, bottoming tail candle or, Yeah, bottoming tail candle, I think is called. We'll keep an eye out. Let's see if it can take out that 15 2/3. What a move down for NVIDIA, and what an equally aggressive move to the high side over here. So good look there. I'm just, you're certain that there's no 0 DTE on NVIDIA,
1,000%.
Okay, yeah, okay. Sounds good. No, you tell me that, I believe you. I'm still holding here on Celsius. It's still holding VWAP. I was able to take some more as it popped up into the mid-80s there, but again, we're 3 pennies out of the money right now. We're still unable to go filled through into the 90s, so it's kind of reestablish the range that it was previously in. I'll submit to you guys that range was about 2670-ish to the downside, with about 2690 to the high side. That was kind of the range there in the bull flag that we had, and then we broke up 2750, and now we're down, looking basically like we're going to hold that same range again. So let's see if we can, if I have to trade it as a range, because that's what it's giving me, that's what I'll do. But I'm definitely looking for a move back up. Yeah, it's a very aggressive down day today in these here markets, guys. But as Joseph mentioned, I think we may have caught possibly a bottom there on NVDA. Let's see if it is. The 10 exponential still way higher than where we're trading right now on NVDA. Let's load up that bad boy. So the 10 exponential on the 5, which it's been basically shadowing all day as a resistance level, 116.50. That's about $1 from where we're trading right now. So we still haven't even gotten back into the 10 exponential. That doesn't mean there isn't a trade to be had. We're trading intraday. So if you take that 114.51 low and you take it to 116.50, well, guess what? That's a 2-banger, baby. Show yourself, Dollar Club. Where is it? The 1, 2. You know what I'm saying? So that's not a bad look intraday. So just because you're going to reject off, and I'm not saying we will, I'm just saying, just if you reject off that 116.50, that doesn't mean that there isn't a trade to be had. Just make sure that you know where you're taking profits. And so if you don't know 10 exponentials there acting as a resistance level, you probably won't take profits there. So we're going to keep an eye out on that. Separately, I wanted to mention as well that that it's not just NVIDIA that caught a bit of a bounce there. The other one that you were involved in, Joseph, AAPL, continuing to respect that upper trend line over here with the higher low situation still in force. It looks as if possibly bottomed out there at 241.25, and now we're knocking the door of that 50 penny area. We got VWAP at 75, and then we got the closing print from Friday at 83s. So we'll see if that higher low, higher high situation that we've been involved in essentially since the opening range wants to reestablish itself on Apple there. It's already over 25 pennies above that area support right now. So not a bad look right now for the dead one Apple as the market possibly tries to curl back up here. It's a hard row. I'll tell you that, because what a negative move NVIDIA brought upon the overall market in general. We were down 8.25%. We're about 7 1/3 right now in Redsville on NVDA, all the while no specific catalyst on this, which is kind of quite bamboozling. You expect that when you have such a down move like that on such a big name, that at least it would be supported with a catalyst. Not so. In fact, I'll submit to you the catalyst today was quite innocuous. I mean, there was really nothing good, nothing bad about it. It was just about NVIDIA looking to use Intel's foundries as possibly a manufacturing base. That's neither good nor bad. They haven't verified whether or not they're going to, move ahead with it. And there has also been kind of speculation whether Intel can even handle that. They have this manufacturing process called the 18A manufacturing process, which Broadcom tested on previous occasions, much to the chagrin of Broadcom. They didn't like it and they backed out of the deal. They're re-looking at it again. I wonder why. I feel this is a political pressure on these companies to want to build locally using Intel and help prop up obviously the struggling American company. Then after all that Intel news we had this morning, Adara brings to us midday that Taiwan Semi now, or the CEO of Taiwan Semi, the major manufacturer of semis in the world, is going to meet with the Orange Man very soon to build more in the United States, despite the fact that they have 100 foundries under construction. I say 100, obviously tongue-in-cheek, to exaggerate for effect, but you get what I'm saying. So a lot of bamboozling, kind of little tidbits of news coming from here and there, kind of not giving you the full picture. We'll wait and see what comes of all this, Joseph. But NVIDIA, wow, 7.5%.
Yeah,
Redsville.
Yeah, there's a lot of people in the chat are talking options with me and just about gamma exposure and everything along those lines. I'm not going to get too in depth with it right now because it is somewhat complicated. And we'll do a lesson about it, though, for sure, because that is a really key point. And when I was referring to all this open interest at a key level on NVDA at that 115, that's when Ozan said, yeah, exactly, Joe. You're looking at that right strike, and that's where it goes. So gamma is now positive, and that's why we got that massive sell-off there, guys. So really important to understand the Greeks, and a lot of people were talking about the advanced Greeks in there, too, as well. Fugazi Bear was talking to me about Vena and Charm. So really, really good stuff there from everybody in the chat. I'm learning stuff, too, from you guys, which is absolutely fantastic.
I got it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So we'll do that, Sharif. Oh, we're a little late on the entry there.
Okay.
But that's okay. We'll hold on to this position. One thing is, though, I know Gorev's in this trade now as well, too. We'll talk a little bit about this before we go into and document the playmaker pool. But here we go, guys. We just continue to sell, and we waited. And I'm like, hey, I think at some point when you have that waterfall type price action, you're going to get that stopping volume. And this is exactly what this is. This is stopping volume, all right? And as you can see, there we go. Beautiful. I need that one there, Fabian. I love that. Thank you, my friend. But this is stopping volume right here, guys, all right? So waterfall type price action, and then now the market has put in a low. And now we can identify that with an indecision doji print, and look at this volume candle too, guys. It's larger than anything put out throughout the whole session. Even in the early, in the 5-minute opening drive where you see the most volume, we've now surpassed that and put in its own signature, so isolated signature. So good luck there, Sharif. Are you ready, my friend?
Yes, sir. We are going to be ready in 1 second.
All right, we're ready. We're both not ready.
All right, I'm ready to go.
Here we go. 54. What do we got for entry price?
589.43.
589.43.
Sir.
Beautiful stuff.
So we're going to stop out or take profits?
We're going to take profit. We want to take profit first.
So we're going long, right?
Yeah, we're going long.
591.43.
590.
It's short. It was short in the polls, right?
Short one in the polls.
Okay, so we're going. Okay, so we're stopping out.
Wow. Well, we thought it was a long.
Well, I asked him.
Okay. All right. All right,
stop trolling us.
Yeah.
Leave us alone. So we're taking profits, Joseph, at 587.43.
Okay. And then our
short.
Yeah, and our stop out is going to be.
We're going to get stopped out at 590.43.
590.43, and then our second short.
Sir.
Ever. Where are you, Mr. What's our good buddy's name there?
Who?
Burdett, Mr. Burdett. Yeah, Kyle, our good buddy Kyle there.
Oh yeah, big smile.
Yeah, big smile.
Oh yeah, right. As soon as
go,
Bitcoin started breaking out yesterday, I got the messages like, "Holy cow, Bitcoin!" I'm like, "Yo, you get excited when things go up?" I was shocked.
Yeah.
Like, what?
Wow.
Big smile.
That's good. That's good to hear from Big Smile here. But here we go, guys. That signal's coming into fruition. It's unfortunate that speaking of Bitcoin, it is continuing to sell, and the Qs and the SPY are having a little bit of issue on holding on to these lows. So let's see if we can get this bounce in NVDA. I'm going to hold on until we break the low, but I don't know if we're going to just yet. But I think there's a turnaround imminent here, guys.
Good call out, Joseph. Yeah, I'm still scalping here on CELH. Anything into the top of the 80s, high 80s, mid 80s. I'm taking the scalps. I've been waiting to get stopped out through that 60. It hasn't been forthcoming, so it does feel like, possibly this holds up. But the other side of the coin is it's not. It's putting in higher lows, CELH. When you look at the 5-minute, if it wasn't so kind of convoluted with all the triangles there, we're putting in lower highs on CELH at VWAP. By the same token, though, we're also putting in higher lows. So we'll see how this bad boy wants to resolve. If it wants to resolve to the high side, I'll catch that bid. I've got the orders layered there at another one at 84s, then at 88s, and then into the 90s. What's going on over there?
Yeah, Gorev says he's printing. We're getting that candle to work out. That's the bottoming signal. I said, Gorev, on these types of setups is when we got to start to push size. Let's see if this works out. Sorry to interrupt. Continue.
No worries. Yeah, so we're keeping an eye here on CELH. I'm also keeping an eye on the MAG, because if we kind of get what I perceive to be a possible 10 exponential retracement on NVIDIA, and then we reject, well, this one could be destined for that 10% day SSR. We're not going to call that until we see it, but we still haven't gotten to that 10 exponential. That 10 exponential on the 5 on NVIDIA is 116 and a third, give or take a few pennies. We're below 116 right now, 115.93. So we'll see how far this one can catch a bid, and if there's anything similar or dissimilar between this one and the other Mag 7 names, we'll look for some differences here. I'm also keeping an eye on Apple. I mentioned this one because of the higher low situation on Apple, which you don't really see on any other of the Mag 7 names. They're either down and to the right or consolidative sideways. Apple's the only one that I perceive to have higher lows. That doesn't mean anything though. If the market starts selling off aggressively, that could give way in a hurry. So yeah, keeping an eye on NVDA, keeping an eye on Apple as well as CELH. Nothing doing there. Let's look at the small cap gappers. Let's bring in the side chart over here, see if there's anything afoot with these bad boys. There's nothing. There literally is nothing today in small cap gapper world that I like, sadly. Acon ain't it. BTAI ain't it. Well, that other one that we took off there, I don't even remember what the ticker was. I replaced it with CELH. That one gave up the ghost as well. So there's not too much that I like right now, guys. Not too much that's setting up in a way that I can trade. I'm looking at the scanner, and there's just really nothing going on over here. That one that I forgot the name of was ALDX, and it lost. Not ALDX. Sorry, that one is still on the search out. RADX. Excuse me. RADX has kind of lost the entire move after hitting $11. It's trading at $6.50 right now. So that can give you an idea of how weak these small cap gappers are, Joseph. Yeah. The new poll is up, baby. We got a couple of names there that you don't usually make it up. We got Nat Gas because it's still up over 6%. Strong name today. ARM in there because it's also 5% down, giving up that 125 momentarily. Li Auto as well. I threw that on there only because it's down 11%. Li Auto got shellacked today with, to be fair, the other Chinese ADRs, they're all red except PDD and Baba. They're marginally green, but these Chinese EVs, Li Auto getting the worst out of all of them right now with that big pop-up last week on Li Auto. And then SMCI, which also might go SSR, if it's not already. No, 9% still and change for SMCI. So that one could be short sale restricted by the time all is said and done. So threw those on there. SMCI obviously is a repeat offender, but Li Auto and ARM and Nat Gas don't usually make it up on there all that often, Joseph.
Yeah, really good stuff there. I'm listening to Ozan. I think 114 is a rappel level. On NVIDIA, smaller than 115, though. Breaks that is a no-no for me. Yeah, good point there, guys. So a lot of gamma talk and advanced options. So I like that in the chat. Wow, iBit is just absolutely tanking, breaking through some key support levels all the way back down to $49.80. So that would probably put us south of 90 on Bitcoin there, guys. As the market continues to bleed lower, 87.5 there now. So going right back to where we kind of started and left the week off a little bit higher, obviously, significantly higher, I should say. But yeah, good stuff. Yes, on ER plays, I pointed out that there was a large put wall and tons of calls sold last Friday at 115. So I expect a bounce at 115, 120. And I like that point too, guys, because when you see high levels of open interest, you got to take into consideration on the opposite side of that trade. So if you're long a bunch of calls, that means the market maker is short a bunch of calls, and they don't necessarily want to have that type of exposure. So really good look there on the put and call walls, guys. Loving the feedback today. We're not getting that bounce that we want as the overall market is continuing to drag lower and lower. Is Donald speaking or anything along those lines, Dara, yet? Because the market's taking another leg down, and it's not looking pretty. Apple heading into some bases as well right now, and Amazon looking like it's going to crack some as well too, guys. So not a pretty look in some of these big names. So yeah, continue to let us know what everybody else is looking at. We'll go over it. If you see anything outstanding or if you find any news, we'll be sure to keep looking and monitoring the chat to see what's going on here, guys. Why is everything crashing? Yeah, that's what we're finding out. So Donald speaking as well too, and I think a lot of it's with tariffs being priced in as well. So yeah, tough look here, guys. Let's see if we can get this bounce. Gorev, if we can hold 114, then I think we're going to be sitting pretty. It's unfortunate we didn't get a deeper pullback than what we were looking at, but with a weak market like this, then it's totally understandable. So continuing to move lower and lower and lower. But yeah, let's take a look at some percentage metrics here, actually. The IWM isn't looking too good. We'll talk about IWM shortly, but Google continuing to go lower. And we're going back to those lows that I was referring to last week. So down north of, let's see here. Yeah, 19%, 19 and a quarter, a little bit more. So heading into the 20% off those all-time highs is Google and some of these big names. So yeah, not a good look, that's for sure. But we'll be patient, see what's going on. We'll see what Donald has to say here shortly. And yeah, we'll just wait for Adara to come out with some of that breaking news. I'm not seeing anything either on my news feed, so we'll just be patient and wait for something to come out. And I'm sure it will, because If things don't just sell off like this, as Sharif mentioned, you don't go down 8 or 10% for no reason, but market pricing some stuff in. Kalua, Sharif, Joe and Sharif, I just had my biggest day ever, printed some massive amounts off the shorts. What a fantastic day. Thank you for all for what you guys do and provide. Yeah, much appreciated. I'm glad you had such a sick day.
Close puts at the lows, bro.
And then Stevenson says, a big profit day for him as well with those 591 puts on SPY. And I know there was a massive put wall last week's expiration cycle on the SPY, which dragged it lower as well too. So yeah, there you go, guys. We'll talk about some put to call ratio tomorrow, and I think that's going to come into play because I guess it's the options RSI, right? So we'll just go over that and see if everybody enjoys that one.
I was firing off a yawn.
Oh, yeah.
Ram caught me mid yawn there. Made me looking bad.
On the yonder.
Get it, Adara. All right, guys. I'm still involved in this CELH position. Don't know why it's holding up at this level, but it feels like there is a buyer at VWAP. I don't know for how long. I'm just scalping out anytime it pops into that level. Anytime I talk about it, it always breaks the level, which I find to be very interesting. Interesting there. So CELH, definitely some negativity on this one. It did have some strength earlier, but it is a giving up the ghost now. I'm still watching ACON on the side chart to see if this one wants to get above that $6.50 level. That is VWAP on ACON. It does have this higher low situation, so it was able to work itself off the low. Certainly that $5 area was money, but there is a seller of note right here. It does seem at 620, and even when it broke that 620 area, look what it did. It went to 720 and then tanked all the way back down. So be careful with ACON. It is quite a bamboozler at these levels, no doubt about it, until it can stay above that volume-weighted average price. Yeah, I just got stopped out there of CELH for the last remaining amount, so we'll give back a little bit there. I did scalp a little bit into that, into the top end, but what really wasn't able to de-risk the majority of the position, so that will be a negative name for me. There's really nothing going on for me over here, guys. A bit of a light trading day today. Nothing breaking to my to the high side. Nothing on my scanner that would warrant entering right now on any of these small cap gappers, but it feels like, you know, it's just a kind of a punch short type day on these here markets as everything is down and to the right. NVIDIA, for whatever reason, has been awfully negative on the day. It has found some support here, although it seems at $1.15. So these levels have been kind of bouncing off, with one exception over here at that 110 candle, which did dip into 114.51. But look how quickly it was bought up above 115. So this could be quite interesting here on NVIDIA if we can recover off that 115 low. There it does have breaking news.
Not so much breaking news here as some context to be aware of. We are keeping an eye here for Donald Trump set to announce a major investment-related piece of news. We are seeing a lot of speculation and reports that TSM is going to be part of that announcement. But 1 minute ago, he posted here on Truth, or sorry, I guess 4 minutes ago now, Donald Trump just sharing a Truth post about 4 minutes ago. It has to do with Russia and Europe, so it's not anything related to this announcement. But I think it's worth noting in terms of his ETA, it seems like as of right now, he's free enough to be able to post things on social media. So I am unclear when he's going to make this announcement. He did, though, just make a different announcement. Tariffs will go on external product on April 2nd. So agriculture products here getting tariffs on April 2nd. I'm not seeing anything else here on NVIDIA or in the market as a whole, but I wanted to let you know Donald Trump posting on Truth and making some tariff announcements, but nothing on that announcement we were expecting at 1:30. Back to you.
I feel like the market every time kind of like thinks that, you know, these tariffs aren't going to hit, especially the ones on Mexico and Canada, and like they give it the opportunity, you know what I mean, to kind of work out, and then the weekend comes and goes and no deal's been struck and the deadline's like 2 days away.
And then everybody's hitting panic mode.
Everybody's hitting panic mode.
Yeah, so there you go, guys. I think that's the market pricing everything in here. So
I kind of get that feeling, you know what I mean? Like it's going to be super interesting to see whether or not that goes through. Apparently they're going to go through. Apparently, according to him, what's up in question right now is the percentage.
Yeah, the percentage.
Yeah.
Well, I heard he was going to take, I think he was going to hit the Canadian oil as hard, so I think 10% there, which isn't as bad. So a little bit of a blanket there.
No, I mean like that 25.
Yeah, the 25. Yeah. 20. Well, I mean, I think he's going to come in with on certain goods, right? So we'll just have to wait and see what he's up to. But I know he said already that Canadian oil is only going to get 10%.
Yeah, so Canadian oils are going to be like the least hit, but like lumber, for example, you know, there's already a 14% dumping surcharge on dumping surcharge on lumber. Dumping's like this economic term for like lowering the price of like a product, right? Of a commodity. And so there's already 14% on that. And there's going to be whatever, another 25%. Yeah, I got you. Just give me a second.
You're going to say we're going to pop in there.
Here we go.
Some e-sig.
Yeah, I know. She's very demanding. I just got to give it a second here. All right, here we go. I'm ready to go. E-Signal, baby. New traders, listen up. First month, it's free. That's right. We're waiving the fees. You get to trade smarter, not harder, by upgrading to Elite. You'll be able to analyze, strategize, and then capitalize on their platform. It's got everything: infinite data, instant trading, lightning fast market insights, and game-changing charts. You can predict better with backtesting and reliable real-time data. Global markets literally at your fingertips, all in one platform. Don't miss out. Execute your best trades now. Ready to elevate your trading? Scan that QR code or check the description in the link, or the link in the description of this video.
There it is.
So that's the situation right now. I'm looking at NVIDIA, guys, because we got a bit of a higher low situation here with 114.60 as the area low, and then we kind of defended that 115 area. We'll see if we can get above 116 a quarter, 116 a fifth, but NVIDIA has been having all sorts of trouble getting off these lows. It's been a sell everything kind of day in chip world today, unless your name was INTC, still flat on the day, up 0.08%. There's some others that are, positive in what's it called? Microchip semis world. You got NXPI up 1 1/3, MCHP up 2.17, but these aren't names that we often trade on the show here, Joseph. So I'm keeping my eye on ACON still, because it's really the only small cap gapper that I think might have a possibility to reclaim VWAP. It's already doing the dance with it right now, trying to take that 650. It's at 6 1/3. Let's see if we can weasel in a little bit here now that it's above VWAP. Maybe we'll give this one the old college try. Very small share size here on this name, just to kind of keep things interesting. We can't just sit on the show without trading like this. So I'm punching in to a little bit here on ACON. I like the $6 pullback. Something there could be interesting as well. There does seem to be a seller of note at 40s. It's a hidden seller and a bit of an iceberg order. We've popped up into 40s with really no size posted on the book, but holding below that level right now. So ACON up about 89% and change, but having all sorts of trouble with VWAP. But I like this higher low situation over here on ACON. CELH was the other trade that I had earlier. That gave up the ghost at that 2670 area, which I perceive to be the consolidation area low, and it gave up that level, and it's continuing on its merry way to the downside, about to breach 60s. So that's all I got right for now, guys. About 20 minutes left on the show. Not too much in small cap gapper world trade today, but there's been a lot of short opportunities, especially for the Mag 7. So if you were taking anything to the downside today, you did quite well. So good on you. I just got a print there on ACON, so let's wait a little bit higher over here. And we just got another print to the high side, so about 20 pennies. I took everything out.
Oh, no. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's been that kind of day. I don't mind getting back in, though. Let's see exactly what happens here. Do we breach VWAP again and then come all the way back down, or what's the situation? Are we going to move up into 7? Last time we rejected 7 1/4 to the T. You can kind of see that up there, and then all hell broke loose to the downside. So ACON trying to take out 7, Joseph. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, Trey Smith, that was funny. But our good guy Drop Trades had a very good point there. He said, Joe, take a lesson from Japan in the early 90s. Tariffs on chips and TVs, etc. Nobody was buying in Japan, had to dump product at a loss for realized losses. China next. Very good, valid point there, guys. I like that when they're drop trades. But we're still hitting into this one. We're still holding on to this NVDA trade, looking for this potential bounce. We were 10% or 10 cents off of hitting a 2-to-1 on the Playmaker, and the short won today because we took that additional leg lower. So if we can hit 58, 587.43, then we can just lock in that 2-to-1. It went to a low of 258.53, and that's it. So, but we're gonna bounce near here now in NVDA, still holding on to this position. just sticking to the game plan, and I think that's really important. Sean says it all the time. Neil, Sharif says, just stick to the game plan. Don't try to overcomplicate something. We had a definitive out on this name, and we haven't broke it. So as the market made another low and continued to construct another low, NVDA held relatively well. So we did have that stopping volume candle in place, and it's looking like it's working out really well for us right now. So guys, let us know in the chat what you are looking at, and we'll go over it here briefly. Maybe I add a little bit into this position because I think we can pull back. I'm not going to say we're going to pull back into this support zone here, which would now act as resistance, but I think that we can pull into 117 halves roughly if we do get that bounce and the market decides that it wants to bounce as well too. So gonna add a little small size here on NVDA, holding for that 117 price target. And there we go, because I don't want to DCA into this trade, so I'll add into something that is working. So 1650, we'll take our first trim off here, but we got some key resistance zones that we need to mark out as well too, right at that $16, that whole dollar right there, guys. We got to keep that in mind. That is resistance. We need that momentum to punch through, and it's looking like it's working out right now because the market's starting to come in, so we'll continue to hold on to that. One thing that I do want to talk a little bit about here is Amazon. We were going over this multiple times throughout the week. A nice signal here, but again, it's not holding, so we need a strong bounce in the Qs and some of these tech names in order for this level to hold. If we break 205, then I got to get out of this trade because 202 is probably the next level, and we're going to head into a little bit south of maybe that 200 target on Amazon. So not a good look here for some of these tech names, but a nice look here on NVDA, guys. I mentioned that signal time and time again. I'll bring it up one more time. Beautiful stuff here, especially after this waterfall type price action. Put in that isolated signature, and we're now bouncing from that there, Sharif.
All right, man. We got back into ACON because we fat fingered like an idiot. We're long 63s. It just went to beak there at 80s. So we initially entered, obviously, as there 32, scalped up into the 50s. Now we're holding a piece for the dream. Let's see if we can work our way up into 90s. I'm going to hang out in the low 90s here on ACON. It's showing me 82s. Let's see if we can work our way a little bit higher. 83s, now 84s, okay, 85s. You guys know what comes after 85, right? All right, 88s over here, not bad, but we're gonna have to, hold on for dear life because this is a riskier trade, man. We've talked about these pre-market highs being a damper on the upward price action. So I have like this inclination to want to get out of this trade, but I don't think that that's the right thing to do, especially if we can test 7 again. So I'm going to let this one cook. I've had a couple of dip trades over here to add to the position. None were filled. Showing me 86s now. It did show me 90s very quickly. I'm waiting at 93, so it didn't cross. So I didn't expect to get the print there. It's going to have to really get a little bit aggressive to break that $7 area. Because look what we did over here with $7. We weaseled on up above it for like a moment or two, and then all sorts of hell broke loose to the downside as people either took profits or reinstituted their short positions. So 63s is where I've entered. I'm going to get out. No, let me have a look. So this is the second candle. If this candle closes in 1 minute above this level, it'll be 2 candles that close above the volume weighted average price. So I don't want to take it out too quickly here. I'm going to pack my patience. Exactly what I'm going to do. So finally in a decent trade right now, let's see if it can work its way up into that 90 penny area. It's having all sorts of trouble with it though. I think, do I leave these resting orders here to get filled? I think it's exactly what I'm going to do, even though it's showing relative weakness right now, that top coming in a little bit over here. I'm trying to gauge whether or not Acon's got some continuity under itself, whatever, over here. Now we're putting in incrementally lower highs here on the book. So it looks like, we were topping out at 89s. Now we're topping out at mid 80s. Okay, here we go. That's calling it into question. Bang! We take out the top there. All right, not a bad trade here on ACON. To the top side again we go, and there goes 7. Now we got a new high a day, baby. Acon, it's got a 731 high a day, but that's all. We spent all of 2 seconds at that 731 area. Now it's coming back down. It's got an ugly topping tail candle, an inverse hammer candle. Does it close this way though on ACON? So let's keep tabs on this one. Now we know that the local high there is 7 1/4, and that's exactly where we rejected. Well, that's not accurate. We rejected 7 1/3, but above that, we saw that that, I don't want to say it's a pre-market high, but it essentially manifested right at 9:30. So it is technically after the market, after the bell. That's an 8:13 high a day. If we can get above and stay above 7, I think that gives us an opportunity for another 8 touch. We haven't been above 8 or at 8, mind you, since that 9:30 a.m. bell. And it does look like it is coming right back down now. So I was happy I got out everything. This is ugly on these small cap gappers today. Very, very ugly. No continuity and like a lot of bamboozlement. So, you know, I took this one breaking through VWAP. But if you had waited for an area break, like a breakout trade above that 7.25, how angry are you right now? You know what I mean? Like you wait for that breakout. You're like, yeah, let's take out those shorts or let those sellers that are hanging out at 7 1/5, 7.25. You punch in long there. All you get is 7.30 and now you're down into 6.75. Very frustrating in terms of continuity on these small cap gappers. But yeah, that's just the way that's the nature of the beast. So have at it. Anyway, happy with this trade, but definitely not the best, certainly.
It's a banger, though.
Yeah, it's okay. It's not great, but it's, you know, there's not much on the day, Joseph.
No.
I can't create these small cap gapper opportunities. If they're there, they're there. They're not, they're not. What am I supposed to do? So we're going to keep tabs on that. Shout out to Sam. Thank you for the nice comments, brother. The best live trading show. You found it already, bro. You found it over here. The Katina man used a different word. We'll give you the idea that he echoed our sentiment, but used a little bit of different language, more forceful language, but I'm going to echo his sentiment on that. Just won't use the same language. Ish.
Watch your profanity.
What you got over there?
Nothing. You remember? I mean, hey guys, but I mean, 5,000 people watching. Bang, like that. Let's get those likes up. I gotta refresh this and see what we got going on here. But make sure you like and subscribe. If we don't got at least 500, okay, you guys are lucky. If we didn't have, what were we gonna say?
No. Go ahead. Finish.
I was gonna say if we don't have 500, I'm gonna have to leave.
Yeah. I like it.
All right, what were you gonna say?
You know what? You know how many viewers the Katina man and I had on that NVIDIA launch party?
18,000, bro.
Over, bro. We were knocking the door of
insane.
almost 20, 19 and change at one point,
take
man.
that into
Breaking
perspective.
records.
Take that into perspective. Like you're essentially.
What's going on? The market's popping off.
Yeah, here we go. We're popping now.
have a look,
wow,
man.
NVDA starting to go here, guys. Yeah, that's what we need. Hey, let him talk. Let the man speak. And this is exactly what we need here, guys. Let's get these likes up here and make sure you subscribe. NVDA starting to climb higher. Gorev, it didn't break that low, so we hopped right back in this name here, my guys. So a nice bounce here in the market.
Get it, Gorev.
We're giving back all those losses. So here we go, Gorev. Katina man shouting you out too.
Hey.
So you know you've made it when Katina man's shouting you out. So good
And
luck
he's short
there, guys.
AMD, by the way,
Now he's
guys.
Short AMD. I might have jumped the gun a little bit too early. We need this volume to be sustained. So hopefully it can do so. One thing that I'm really bummed about is this Amazon trade. What do you got cooking up there now, my guy?
Short AMD.
Short AMD. All right, there you go. I'm long NVDA. He's short AMD. 5,000 people watching. Let's get those likes up. Make sure you like and subscribe. Thank you guys all. We're going to hold on to this NVDA
Remember
trade.
how we were talking about these U.S. tariffs, Donald Trump tariffs, and how could they have an effect on these here markets,
Yes.
or could they have an effect on the decisions that businesses take?
Yes.
Honda to produce next Civic in Indiana, not Mexico, due to U.S. tariffs, reports Yahoo Finance. You hear about that one, Randy?
There you
Interesting
go.
there,
So you
dude.
go.
I mean, think about that.
But that's the kind of the intention.
Civics,
of them,
they make
right?
a lot of these things.
Right,
Dude.
right.
There's a lot of those.
But that's kind of like the intention of tariffs, right? You want to be more homegrown and less import,
Absolutely.
right? So that's kind of what he's aiming for, right? He wants to put America first, even though he may not like it. He just wants the business to grow within, I guess, domestically. So.
My old man was like, he did a bit of a deep dive into these tariffs. Like he doesn't get involved in the markets. You know, I've been trying to get him to get crypto, and you know how they feel about the markets, right? They're like, they want to stay down.
They don't want any risk, essentially, right?
They got their money in the market, but they've got some stiff, like basically doing all the trading for them and everything like that.
Yeah.
I'll continue my story once we get back from Adair at the big desk. Get it, Katina man.
Not have anything here from Donald Trump. I couldn't find anything on that candle. Just to recap, around 20 minutes ago now, or 21 minutes ago, we were expecting Donald Trump to make an announcement here with regards to an investment in the U.S. Reports are suggesting this investment would be from TSM. And when I say we were expecting it, I mean this was announced by the White House. But 21 minutes have passed, and we do not have any sign of Donald Trump, though he's posted a couple Truth Media posts since this was supposed to start. I think the first one coming in at 1:31. So we're going to have to wait and see what happens here. But it is worth noting, I have not seen any comments from Trump beyond his Truth Social posts, guys. Back to you.
Era for always keeping us apprised. Yeah, just to go on with the story. So I was telling him, he actually came up to me and he's like, I've been doing a bit of a deep dive on these tariffs. And he's like, what happens when, you levy tariffs against foreign producers to the benefit of, obviously, of local producers?
Yes.
He's like, does it reduce the quality of the product because now they have to compete or they're not competing actually against foreign manufacturers,
But have to live up to the demand.
But they got to live up to demand.
Yeah.
Well, if you're caught in like a catch-22 where you're like, all right, I want the cheaper product, or do I ante up a little bit more for the better product? That's like kind of saying like, do you go to Winners, TJ Maxx, get yourself a shirt like this one. This is from Winners as well.
That's all right.
Right? Or do you hit, Bloor Street?
Go to Bloor Street.
And go to Jimmy Choo. Or do you go to obviously I'm exaggerating for effect here, you know what I'm saying? But
yeah, I guess that's all preference too, I guess, at some
the point I'm trying to make is, does it lower quality because now you're kind of you're shielded from foreign competitors?
No, that's a very valid point, I think, Sharif. And that's a question, unfortunately, I cannot answer. But I think that's a valid point.
100 miles per hour, it says Chinese quality, laugh out loud.
Yeah.
My man, China is kind of like the tale of two worlds. You can get the worst quality possible, the Temu style products, and then you can get the best quality products possible. It's just there's a spectrum. It's so insanely wide.
What's a good? I'm gonna put you on the spot here. You said Temu, but you never gave it a legit quality.
Well, because like the main manufacturers get their product made in China and then they rebrand it to sell at a huge markup.
Okay,
so like a lot of these designer stuff, they make their stuff out there, right? So it's interesting, man. I'd like to hear what people have to say about that. Jimmy Choo, says Isaac. Eddie R, ask yourself just why you bought a Jaguar. I don't know, because I'm an idiot. I don't know. I have no idea. Dear Oil, easy answer for me. Look at the U.S.
Say the U.S. Airlines? That's crazy.
Ouch. Yeah, that's all I can say to that.
Well.
That's ouch. That's I have no response to that. I mean, what do you say? How can you defend Boeing? There's really nothing to defend.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, it's a great question.
I don't know. Like, it's put simple here, right? Like, Wal Maria says you get what you pay for.
Yes, sir.
And I agree with that. So, really, really good stuff there. 5,100 people watching there. I don't know. I refreshed it. We're still sitting at 517. So, I don't know. Did you like yet, Sharif?
Did I like? Yeah. I always like. Oh, come on now.
All right.
Guys, Akon is making another move here. Joseph into 7. So cleared VWAP. Gave us that double top into 7 1/4, 7 2/3. Drop back down like it was going to lose VWAP. Bounces almost to the penny off that volume weighted average price in the mid 40s. And here we are again, knocking the door of that $7 area on ACON. That same door that seems to briefly open and then get shut right in our face with that topping tail candle, Katina Man manifesting twice on ACON and breaking it down below 7. Here we are showing 99s on the ask. We are unable to get above it and stay above it. We'll submit to you that there are no closing prints above that $7 area, at least from what I can see on the day. Let me have a look to make sure I am accurate on that. Yes, nothing closing above the $7 area after the bell rang. We were above there briefly in the pre-market and then printed that 813 high a day, read that opening range break, but we haven't been above that level, 813 that is, since that time. It's having trouble with 7 again, but what I like about this is that it did come into that level that we all look at for these small cap gappers, that volume weighted average price, and bounced off to the T. There goes 7. Here we go. 707s into the high, not moving on the bid though, so this one's still not clearing on the bid. What's going on over there, Katina Man? Get it. I appreciate you. So we're going to keep an eye right now on ACON. There it goes, baby. Here comes 7 1/4 on ACON. There it goes. Boom.
Oh,
into 749. It's going to halt at 49s over here. If we spend about 10 seconds, it could be a false halt. We've seen false halts already on the day. Tons of volume churning through this level. It does look like it could false halt here, though. Let's give it a few more seconds. The bid is changing aggressively right now at that 748. This will halt likely at this level. I I don't anticipate it breaking above 750 here. There it is, halted to the high side, 748. The tap showing me 748. Finally, Acon moving to the high side. It took a long time, but I think we may have something now. Let's keep 813 in focus, Ram. That is the high of the day that we print. I hate to call it the high of the day because, well, technically it is, obviously, but we printed it right at 930. Right at that opening range break, we popped up topping tail into 813. Then, believe it or not, we actually dropped into 494, only to work our way back. This is hardly a glowing endorsement to trade these small cap gappers. There has been no discernible trend on this. It zigged, it zagged. It was above VWAP, it was below VWAP. It was we took it to pre-market high, then we lost the pre-market range there, breaking way below it actually. So Acon has been tough to trade today, no question about it. I wouldn't really want to use this as a poster child for small cap gapper trades, but we are halted to the high side, 748. Convict, there he is. There's the OG. There's the OG. I've been listening to like a nice little mix, Acon mix on the ride back home.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Locked up. What else?
Because I'm locked up, locked up.
Best one.
You're so beautiful. Get it, Adara. Adara's singing up a storm over there, baby.
Didn't that guy want to make his own like country in Africa or something? He did.
Did he actually, Adara? Did he have currency for it? He was attempting to.
Yeah, he was attempting
makes
to,
sense.
With the Acon, the Acon dollar.
There you go.
The original Bitcoin, I guess.
Yeah. So shout out to Jules. Acon, keep a piece up. 67%. Get it, my man. Or woman. 123.25% is what we're up right now, Joseph, on Acon. The tap, though, 773. So we are very bullish right now. 775. You're going to see that always over here. I know you're probably going to have to zoom in, but the TAP on my level 2. That means theoretical auction price, Joseph.
Yes,
we're above the halt level right now, which was at 48s, showing 79s. Oh, baby. Real ones to know. Acon, Chamak Chalo. I don't know that one, Ram.
Yeah.
Is that with the Indian? Is that an Indian remix? Because on the playlist that I was listening to, he has a couple of remakes there with some foreign singers.
Yeah, good stuff.
Adara, I have friends from Senegal where Acon is from, and apparently he was trying to make a country within Senegal, which was not well received. No. You know, if I try to open up my own country down the road over here, I'll probably have a nice visit from CSIS or or the RCMP.
Whoa. Yeah,
you know, I applied to work for CSIS. I didn't even get a response.
Really?
No, they're just like, no, go away.
See you later. See you later. Oh my God. Here we go. We're gonna send in Adara in 1 second. It looks like we're gonna break on NVDA. We're holding on to this position. We didn't break that low. Looking for that break of this high here. 116.45 is going to be the next target. 117. Looks like it might be in the works. Let's see what Adara's up to.
Just be aware here. Microsoft on watch. Apparently, Microsoft 365 made a status update or announcement saying that they're investigating reports of, quote, issues accessing Microsoft 365 services. So appears like there's some service access related issues happening with MSFT. Specifically Microsoft 365, which they announced themselves. So potentially on watch. Sometimes these service-related announcements can be mildly moving, guys. Back to you.
Thank you very much, Adara.
Adara, I'm just logging in some stuff for us, guys, on the Playmaker. And there we go, short. We'll call it a victory out at 155.
Don't call it a comeback.
Don't call it a comeback. But here we go. We got 1 minute left. Climbing higher. Let's see if we can tap into 117 on NVDA. Apple's starting to pull back as well, too, guys. So a lot of the market's starting to come in. I think that we're going to run into this prior support level here as resistance. Now, once support can act as resistance, and I think that's going to come into play here shortly. Really nice stopping volume, so you can see that isolated signature here as well, too, on the SPY and the Qs. So it looks like that momentum to the downside has now cooled off. But Sharif, it is 2.
You literally was 159.
Yeah,
59
you see that?
You said that.
Yeah, timed it. It's all about timing there, my guys.
Get it off, baby.
Yeah, let's hope everyone had a good day. Keep those risk measures implemented. Stay safe, keep it green. If not, just take a nice cool day. It's Monday, and Sharif and I will see you same time, same place tomorrow.
What? It's 2 o'clock?
2 o'clock, man.
My mic's on. What? I don't know what's Yeah, I know it was already 2 o'clock. And welcome everybody. We're back. It hasn't been a very good day for the market, but apparently Acon is flying higher and opening up new countries and all that kind of good stuff. And the NASDAQ is trying to go back into the green. Trump didn't really, I don't know, man. We were expecting that big announcement, but we didn't really get a heck of a lot of anything here. But there is a rebound. I was just looking at Microsoft because it was that Microsoft headline. The only thing I'm in is SMCI currently.